guns and bring your friends. It's fun to lose and to pretend she's overboard and self-assured. Oh no, I know a dirty word. Hello.
Peter said Ethan Nordine was the undisputed leader of the group that day as they tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power.
FBI agents arrested Proud Boys former national chairman Enrique Tarrio at this home in Miami. By 2 this afternoon, he was in federal court.
Here we are now, entertainers. I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertainers. I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertainers.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Lords of War News Brief. Today is going to be a special show. Today is Wednesday, June 4th, and it is 2:27 p.m. We're about 27 minutes late, but we were getting things together, and some of our guests were late. Patty was super late. I'm going to blame him. I'm joined today by my two co-hosts, and we have a special guest with us today, which hopefully will start a show on the War Boy Studios Network. Sorry for the pressure. Patty, welcome to the show. Okay. You made me choke on my fucking Red Bull and coffee. Barry, welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
Always good to have you.
48 hours with no vapes, guys. I quit cold turkey. I got to get the gay out of me for Pride Month, so I quit vaping the orange stuff and the pink flavored crap, and I'm miserable and cranky, but I'm still an American. So
you should take up smoking cigarettes. And then we have a special guest today. Rob is joining us from the great state of New Hampshire. Some of you may know him from his Spaces sessions. Rob, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, bro.
No problem.
It's great to be here.
So, yesterday when I was deciding, I was going through social media and I saw everybody had like their own comments on like the big beautiful bill. We know that there's multiple positions being taken, and I never wanted to comment on the big beautiful bill, including on our last show, because I really don't know. There's we misrepresented yesterday. We said 1,600 pages. I think it's actually, let me look. I think it's 1,038 pages for this bill. It's HR 1. And we're going to go through it. But before we go through the actual bill, because it is going to be painstaking, it's going to be boring, but we're going to be doing highlights. We're not going to go through all 1,000 pages of this bill, because if not, then we'd go crazy, which is a problem that we said that we had with omnibus bills. Like, this shouldn't be this difficult. To start, we're going to see what the sentiment is. Barry, do you have those tweets pulled up? Can you bring those up?
I have the Rand Paul video.
Wait, before if you're going to go with the Rand Paul video, let's talk about Donald Trump's position on this bill. Donald Trump has been pushing this bill from the beginning. I don't know if it's the same version of the bill that we're seeing today, but this is part of his agenda, part of his something that he promised he was going to do, something that we saw with tax cuts and things like that, which are included in the bill. So most of you guys that are listeners know that this is and we've seen the Truth Social post and the Twitter post by the president advocating for this bill. But there are some surprising proponents, and I guess not surprising, but there are people that are against passing this bill, including 2 Republican senators that we know of, and Elon Musk. On the Elon Musk one, I think I'll share. Do you have the Elon Musk tweet available, Barry?
I do not.
Okay, I have it. I got to stop this screen and then add the other screen. Elon Musk, big beautiful bill.
I gotta say, guys, the ticker is killing me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I haven't even read it. I didn't even, to be honest with you, Barry sent me, hey, I'm going to put this on the ticker. Is it okay? And I was like, yeah, whatever. Fucking go ahead.
It's hilarious.
So let's start with his tweet, right? And I'm going to read out his tweet here. And it says, I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. The massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. And then sitting next to this tweet, I believe it is Thomas Massey, who's recently been getting a lot of shit, including from the right wing for multiple stances on things, saying he's right. And then him going simple math. Elon Musk replying with it's simple math. Is it simple math though? I don't know. Let's pull up Barry. If you could, can you pull up what tweets do you have, Barry?
Well, the only one I had available was the Rand Paul video where he's interviewing with Rob Schmidt from Newsmax, and he gives his point of view on the bill, and it specifically calls out what his issues is with the expenditures.
Okay. So can you pull that up on the screen and explain it?
I sure can. And
so turned off about this bill specifically. This morning, you essentially said you want to cut 6% from basically every part of the budget. But what is it about this bill that you don't like so much?
Well, let's start with what I like about the bill. What I like about the bill are the tax cuts. I voted for them in 2017. I wish they were permanent, and that's a big part of the bill. And if that's all that the bill was, I'm not a yes, a hell yes. I'm all in for that. I'm for spending cuts. Yeah. I don't think there are enough spending cuts in that, and I'm worried about that. I wish there were more. But I still would support the tax cuts and some spending cuts if they weren't forcing conservatives to vote to raise the debt ceiling $5 trillion. That concerns me because when you extend the debt ceiling, this will be the largest increase in the debt ceiling ever. This will be the first time that Republicans alone will be responsible for the debt. The debt will be basically owned by Republicans. And I'm not for borrowing $5 trillion over the next 2 years. I've told the president if they will separate the debt ceiling vote out, they very may well have my vote on this. But so far, the negotiations are slow. They seem to be picking up a little bit in the last couple of days. So I'm still hopeful that we can come to an agreement.
All right, that's an 8-minute video, so I'll pause it there. And if you want to break down that first before I can play the rest.
No. We're not going to go through fucking 8 minutes. We kind of see what his position is.
Sure.
Any comments from you guys on his position?
Yeah, what Rand wants to do is he wants to raise the debt ceiling without saying he voted to raise the debt ceiling. What he wants to do is add $3.8 trillion to the debt over the next 10 years, but not have his fucking name on it. And this is why Rand Paul is not Ron Paul, right? This is why Rand Paul is a watered down pussy ass version of his father, because Ron Paul would just come out and say that shit. Rand Paul wants to couch it with, well, I want to blame it on somebody else. This is this guy's brand. I'm not going to vote yes until you give me a loophole, or I can vote yes and not get busted for it. Fuck this guy. Like, seriously, he's a fugazi conservative, a fugazi libertarian. He's always been that way. And this is on brand for him. So it's not surprising. Okay. He'll vote yes when it comes down to it because he'll be told to vote yes. And that's what he does.
Quick response. Do you feel the same way about Massey?
No, I think Massey actually is what he says he is. I don't like Massey. Like, I don't agree with him. Obviously, I'm a liberal. He's a conservative. I don't. But you can't call Massey a fugazi. Like, I mean, he is what he is, man. Like I have respect for him in that he believes what he believes. I think it's wrong, but at least when words come out of his mouth, I know he's probably not lying.
Okay, Rob, Barry, do you agree with that assessment that was just given by Patty?
I think that's kind of a fair analysis to add to every single senator in Congress on both sides of the demographic. I think they're all, I mean, it's like, well, let me read you your horoscope. Scorpio, you're going to die. Libra, you're going to die. It's like, okay. I mean, it's a fair analysis. I think they're all like that. My concern is the uninformed Americans, which is like 88% of us, are going to blame Trump for any kind of misappropriation or anything that's in this bill that's bad. Trump is going to have his name on it, and I think it's going to be hard for people to separate that these are interns that wrote this shit for different senators and congressmen and snuck this crap in here like they do every time. It's not Trump's fault that this bill has shitty shit in it. It's our fault for voting for these freaking politicians constantly that put it in there.
Yeah, Rob? But if he signs it, it is his fault. If he puts his fucking name on the dotted line, if he signs on the line which is dotted, then that's a problem.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Rob?
Listen, I got to go back to, I think it was 2003 or 2004. The only thing that Michael Moore ever did that was worth a shit was Fahrenheit 9/11. And he was interviewing senators and talking about the Patriot Act. And the senator says to him, son, that bill is just too big. We didn't read it. We just signed it. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what all of these big spending bills have been all of these years. We put Trump in with a mandate to shrink government, and these port-filled bills we have railed against for years and years and years. Every time Biden had one come up, we were railing against it. It's the same shit. It's like same two sides of the same coin. And I was all for this bill, all for it, man, because the HPA is in it, and that's a very important thing to me because I'm a Second Amendment absolutist. And now I'm starting to go. The more I read about it, the more I investigate. This is not the bill. Like we need, in the aspect, in the respect of what he said, what Rand Paul said, these bills need to be separate. Like you can't. All of these big omnibus bills are the reason why we're so fucked right now. And if these bills would just get separated and vote on the merits of each one of these individual parts of this bill, it would be better for all of us in America. But then that's not how they do it. And this is what we want. And nobody listens to us. They're like, well, fuck you. You're plebes.
So I'm going to show a tweet in a second. So I want to ask you guys, and I'll state my position too. Without reading this bill, just a simple yes or no. Do you support it? And I'll start with Patty.
No.
Barry?
No.
Rob?
I have to say no now.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you my position and why I'm taking it. And I'm taking it before we go through this. I made sure that I didn't really read through it so I could read it with you guys. Right now, I'm a yes on this bill. And the reason why I'm a yes, obviously I have a bias. Also, obviously I'm loyal to the president, right? And which is really based on him giving me my life back, right? So I'm a yes on this bill. Now that might change if we read through this, at least the highlights of it, and I'll give you my position after, and then we'll ask the same question, right? Right after that. Now, one position I'm not going to take is the position that I am against people that are against this bill because they're against it for reasons that they've stated, and they seem like very reasonable positions, specifically Elon Musk's position on the bill. We know that he was the lead at Doge to cut government spending, and he probably has seen a lot of shit that we haven't seen. So right now I'm still a yes on the bill. But I'm gonna in celebration of Pride Month. I am going to actually state that we have a segment on this show called Gay of the Week.
Gay of the day.
Gay of the day. Yeah, because there's multiple shows, so we might find
It rhymes.
20 gays in this month. So in celebration of Pride Month,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but just for clarity, does the person have to be homosexual, or is it just like, dude, that was gay?
I mean, this take is so gay that I think that he's sucked a dick or two in his life.
Okay.
So
All right. Context and clarity matter.
The gay of the day
like
today is, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Brendan Dilly.
It's pronounced dildo.
Dildo. And his tag is Warlord Dilly. So I'm going to read this. Elon Musk is the shrewdest businessman on the planet. So shrewd that if he had his way, he'd have balanced the budget in a single year and canceled every government program that regular Americans rely on for survival, which I totally support. Nuance and compromise are not his strengths. This is a phenomenal gift if you're leading a private business, and horrifically bad combination when you're trying to lead people politically without destroying their lives. Elon is cold. I agree. Shrewd. I disagree. Unapologetic technocrat. Disagree. Who genuinely wants to do good, but he's also obtuse in his expectations of how decisions impact regular Americans. So the reason why this guy has made it to the gay of the day for the Warboys Studios is he got this hot take on the bill, and this is blind loyalty. And I understand me saying yes is blind loyalty, but I have that blind loyalty for a different reason. It doesn't mean that I'm going to support this bill. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to be a no on this bill by the time that we finish reading it. But blind loyalty to a bill is pretty gay. You guys take on it.
Blind loyalty to anything is gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a beef with Dilly years ago. This is like 6 years ago. I made fun of him because he's what do you call a cunt?
Okay.
And it turned into like a whole thing. And he did a whole segment on his show about how my delivery on my pod at the time was bad. He didn't think I had enough energy, and I'm like, exactly what do I have to do to have enough energy? Like, do I have to actually, blow a Trump dildo like on the air? Like, is that what has to happen? But that's apparently that's what he does every single day. If you watch his show, this man has been doing a podcast for like 10 years now and still can't figure out his own audio. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that somebody who is that inept makes that much money. And this is like, I have a theory about how like right-wing and left-wing podcasts work and don't work. Like on the right, honestly, you can like take a shit on the air and just parrot some right-wing talking points and people will clap for you. And on the left, it's a whole lot harder. You got like three, like you got like the Young Turks and Pac-Man and Brian Tyler Cohen, and that's about it. You have to be really, really good on one side. On the other side, you can be complete horse shit and get a ton of views. So that's what Dilly's been riding for the last like his entire life. And I can't understand why people watch that fucking show, but they do.
Yeah, I wish we could just like scream Nazi into a microphone and get a bunch of views. That would.
I think it's a good experiment. Maybe we should try it. Fuck, I'm down. I don't care.
I didn't even know who this dude was until you went after him, Enrique.
Yeah,
That's
so
I
want to be clear. Like, I'm going after him for this take because I think it's a stupid take. I don't think this guy's ever read any portion of this bill. Because even if you don't, you understand that Elon Musk, he's not a one issue guy, but his central issue is batting down the extreme debt and the pork that we have in our system, right? And to go after Musk on his main goal here, just to simp, for this bill is gay. So Congratulations, Brandon Dilley. You've made Gay of the Day at the Warboy Studios. I'll make a post about it.
And if he could actually help us
think we should give him a
understand and
golf
pronounce
clap.
his last name, if like what if it's delay? Because if he's gay, like they always had that eccentric little twist to reality. Like it's not Dilly, it's delay. Like I could just see him saying that.
You got to ask him: is it the first dick that they sucked that causes the lisp, or is it the subsequent ones after that? Like,
can we actually make a commitment to looking into this bill to see where and whose office is responsible for adding this pork? I don't care who's responsible, Democrat or Republican. They're both the fucking same in this department. Let's find out who did it.
While we're getting into this, maybe you could search that. Can you do me a favor, Barry? So I won't have to change screens. Can you take the scroller off the bottom? For two reasons. It's coming into contact with Rob's feed, and then I'm about to kind of full screen this.
There you go.
Thank you. And then this. Let's start. Let's start with this shit. So this is the official bill. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. It's HR 1 from 119th Congress. And let's see if it has the title. The act may be cited as One Big Beautiful Bill Act. And that's the official name of this. And then the way that we're going to go through this is we're going to go through the table of contents. We're going to look through the table of contents and see things that interest us. And we'll go through those sections and see how we feel about those sections. So feel free, all three of you, to stop when you see. And actually, let me see how many sections there are. Okay, so it's about 2 pages in sections, three pages in sections.
Well, I could already tell you right now. I'd like to stop on the snap part.
Okay, all right. So let's start through section 1. Thrifty food plan. Able-bodied adults without dependents work requirements. Able-bodied adults without dependent waivers. Do any of those three interest you guys?
No.
Get
to the part where they're all mad because they can't buy Twinkies and Red Bulls.
All right.
Coca-Cola.
Restrictions on internet expenses. And the thing is, like, we're skipping over some of these things, and it might have things that we fucking disagree with, but I'm not going to make a 5-hour fucking podcast on this shit. I'm just not. Restrictions on internet expenses, matching fund requirements, administrative cost sharing, general work requirement age, national accuracy clearinghouse, quality control zero tolerance. I don't know what the fuck that means.
The National Accuracy Clearinghouse.
You want to take a look?
That's when Ed McMahon shows up with the check at your house.
Yeah, right. I'm going, what the fuck is that?
Do you want to take a look at it? Because
not really.
Like nobody really knows this. No, you don't?
No, not really.
All right, so let's go. I guess we'll skip over National Education and Obesity Prevention Grant Program. Repeal.
That one seems fun.
Make America less fat.
Control F. And
Make
that
fat
is
shaming great again.
Section. Can you read out?
I don't have a problem with that.
Can you read out the section number 10011?
10011.
Okay. Okay. Food Nutrition Program. The Food and Nutrition Act of 2008 is amended to read as follows. No individual who is a member of a household otherwise eligible to participate in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program under this section shall be eligible to participate in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program as a member or any of these households. Residents of the United States, citizens, be an alien lawfully admitted for permanent residence as an immigrant as defined by the Immigration and Nationality Act, excluding other alien visitors, tourists, diplomats, and students who enter the United States. So, I mean, I guess this portion goes, an alien, this interests me, with no intention of abandoning their residence in a foreign country, an alien who is a citizen or national of the Republic of Cuba, and who is a beneficiary of an approved petition under Section 203 of the Immigration Act. I guess what I take from this is like they're making sure that anybody that's requiring this assistance is a U.S. citizen and not or a resident and not just an illegal immigrant can come into this space per se.
I thought that was the law already. If it's not, then it should be, and that's fine. I don't.
No, I think Patty's right. It is the law. They just stopped enforcing it the last 4 years, but it is the law.
Right. Well, I don't know if writing the law again is going to lead them to enforce it more, but okay. I don't have a problem with it. Knock yourself out. Great. Yeah.
I think it also said striking section 28, like right at the very top of it. Like when you
guys can read this, right?
Yeah.
We can see
okay. Oh, well,
it sounds like Don't Say Gay Bill 2.0. It sounds very bigoted and transphobic. And
I think it's pretty
actually, I was actually reading
by striking section 28.
So if you take a look at it, I was reading the portion that interested you, Barry, where you see where section 10,012 is here, alien SNAP eligibility.
Yes. I would just want to preemptively separate, because I think what you're gonna see is they're gonna say, okay, we don't think that SNAP program cards and taxpayer money should be buying Coca-Cola and Twinkies. All right. Then you're gonna have people in the media saying they're trying to take food out of starving Americans' mouths. Now, this is just one for instance. So I'd like to preemptively pinpoint where they're going to do this at. And I think the SNAP program is going to be one of them, where the claim is Trump is starving the poor children in the hood, and really all he's saying is don't buy Twinkies with tax dollars.
Okay, well,
SNAP is different than what we're talking about. What we usually refer to as welfare, which is
it's food stamps essentially.
Yeah, but you don't get a SNAP card. SNAP is food assistance that's given directly. So like, there's no I understand what you're saying, but that would refer to what we call welfare, which is a different program.
Here in Florida, they give them a card. They get like an EBT debit card, and it gets reloaded every month on the SNAP program.
Okay.
But
one thing I don't know.
I think it's different with different states.
I think it's state by state.
That's how they do it in Mass.
Maybe there's a different section, but I do not see them take it within this section or subsection, I guess you call it. I don't see anything to do with
the type of food they can buy.
Type of food. I don't see that. And I've kind
you
of.
You also have to consider though the fact that when you're talking about the type of food people can buy. So I live in Belmont now in Massachusetts, which is right next to Cambridge. The other side of my street is in Cambridge. It's a pretty good suburb of Boston. But I lived in Dorchester for almost 10 years. And I can tell you that food deserts are a real thing. So there's a lot of instances where people just can't buy groceries like you and I would want to buy groceries. Right outside my yard, I'm growing radishes and tomatoes and peppers and peas and carrots and all the stuff that I would need for the whole year. But I have a big yard. Most people don't have that. So, you end up buying really shitty food. And those of us who used to be poor, and I think that that encompasses all of us on the panel right now, at one point or another in our lives, know that sometimes you buy crap at a bodega because there's no grocery store near you. So I don't want to tell people like, hey, you have to travel 10 miles to go buy a fucking potato or a tomato. You know what I mean? Because it's not practical for a lot of people.
Of course, you'd mention potatoes.
Because the damn white man holding everyone down.
I'm targeting Italians and mixed right now.
And shop everywhere and anywhere you can look, dude.
They're
just lazy and don't want to travel there, and they want to go to the corner store and eat shit.
The one thing that
I'm not saying people don't do that. I'm just saying
hold on.
Be careful about.
So one thing I do notice about this section, it just keeps mentioning Cubans. So there's a section here.
Kind of weird.
Is physically present in the United States pursuant to a grant of parole in furtherance of the commitment of the United States to the minimum level of annual legal migration of Cuban nationals to the United States specified in the U.S.-Cuba Joint Communique on migration
Okay.
done in New York, September 9th, 1994. So I do see there's like a lean on my Cuban people on here. But okay, let's go back to the next section. By the way, I searched the word soda, and I do not see it come up once on this bill.
Well, that's what everyone's complaining about on the interwebs. You know, the government's controlling what kind of food you can buy. So, I mean, just more of the same disinformation.
Okay. So let's keep going. Emergency food assistance. We kind of went over
Alien SNAP eligibility.
We did. That's what we just went through. The section 10,011 was just a paragraph. And then it suddenly went into, so I was actually reading that first portion out of section 10,012. So we kind of went over that. So it does not, that I see, at least in these sections. And it seems like this is like the nutrition portion of the whole subtitle A is for the nutrition portion. And I do not see them restricting the type of food that you can buy.
I did not see that either.
Yeah. And I searched soda, snacks, things like that. There was zero mentions of it. So let's go to
Control F Twinkie.
Control F Twinkie. Yeah. Command Twinkie. I'm a Mac user. Jesus. I'm a Mac user, so it was Command Twinkie.
Command F Twinkie. Yeah, me too. But I just
day of the day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, I can already tell you that subtitle B, investment in rural America, that's racist and systemic. So I don't want to just skip that one.
I want to.
Mostly white people out there.
To those people that are watching, like, feel free, like, if you do see a section that interests you or any comments, feel free to hit the live chat and like ask. And if somebody's asking constant questions, I might even send you a link so you could join us on the stream as we're doing this. So let's go back into this and let's go through subtitle B, investments in rural America. The safety net, conservation, supplemental agricultural trade promotion program, research, secure rural schools and forestry, energy, horticulture. Are we cracking down on thoughts on OnlyFans? And
dude, my girl just read me a statistic about that 10% of women or 8% of women worldwide have an OnlyFans account.
Okay.
Does that sound right? That sounds crazy.
I think that's too much. Well, you know what?
Yeah,
that's women, not to jump off topic here, but women are like stealth when they watch porn. So I'm pretty sure maybe it's accurate. Maybe it's accurate. Now, do they pay for subscriptions on OnlyFans? That's the question. Now, actually, in this section,
I can tell you not many.
Yeah. This section actually
really
interests me because it says miscellaneous. And I don't like when it says miscellaneous because, you could probably include a whole bunch of shit. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think the word miscellaneous or a section having miscellaneous things should ever be attached to a bill.
Yeah. Miscellaneous, animal disease prevention and management, funds of the Commodity Credit Corporation. This to carry out this section, $30 million for each of fiscal years 2023 to 2025. Here we're talking about money now, of which not less than $18 million shall be made available for each of those fiscal years to carry out subsection. Of the funds of the commodity credit, like the secretary shall make available to carry this section with $233 million for each of the fiscal years 2026. So I'm trying to see, like, you see all these numbers, 10 million, 70 million, no less than 153 million, but for what? Of the funds of the Commodity Credit Corporation, 75 million for year 2031 shall be made available. Sheep production and marketing grant.
So
$2 million.
the
Go ahead.
Commodity Credit Corporation is a wholly owned United States government corporation that was created in 1933 to stabilize, support, and protect farm income and prices.
So, I mean, again, we're just to be clear, we're four retards that have no law experience reading through this, but to me that sounds like, I guess, farm subsidies of some sort, because I see sheep production and marketing grant. By striking 2 million for fiscal year, so I'm guessing they're trying to save 2 million a year here, but miscellaneous trust funds, PIMA Agriculture Cotton Trust Fund. Can you research what that is? PIMA, PIMA Agriculture Cotton Trust Fund.
Well, agriculture, I know the price of lamb went up in Afghanistan and Pakistan a lot. It's like up to $120 an hour right now.
Well done, Barreled. Very good.
Agriculture Wool Apparel Manufacturers Trust Funds. So they're extending these programs from 2024 to 2031.
Now, are these like American textile production programs?
I'm guessing they're subsidies for these industries, because it seems like these trust funds is where they hold the money that they're going to release to, I guess, these farmers. And specifically, I keep, at least in this section, I keep seeing sheeps. So it's money for Democrats.
The purpose of
Come on, man.
purpose of the agricultural
Democratic states have sheep, man. Come on. This is for West Virginia. There are no Democrats in West Virginia anymore.
is to
Go
reduce
ahead, Rob.
the injury to domestic manufacturers resulting from tariffs on cotton fabric that are higher than tariffs on certain apparel articles made of cotton fabric.
Okay. So, I don't know if it has a date on that, but I guess this is supplemental because of the tariffs. Is that what I'm kind of hearing?
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like cotton T-shirts made in America and are more expensive than things that are made over in Indonesia.
And then they're extending, it looks like they're extending these from 2024 to the period of 2031. So it's these subsidies to kind of help farmers. Is this something, so just generally, because again, we're going through this and we're not lawyers here. Generally, is this something that you guys would agree with? Kind of balancing out the tariffs with American agriculture and giving these subsidies to farmers?
No, because
American companies that want to make cotton? Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
but it's the definition of robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Wait,
Right?
wait,
We're
wait,
going to
wait.
raise tariffs.
Go ahead.
So we're going to screw ourselves, and then we're going to backfill it by just giving farmers money. That's not an economic plan, man. That's just fucking around. That's just branding and bullshit. Saying, "Hey, look what we did," and then I know it's screwing the economy, so we're just going to give you guys some money to shut the fuck up. Like, that's just dumb, man. It's not a plan. It's not a long-term, economic solution. It's just silliness.
I think from what I take from it is it's trying to bring back manufacturing here to America and providing a sentence. Yeah, well, yeah, but the wool itself. I mean, we make clothes for that. So I mean, you got that company out of North Carolina, American Giant, that has bought that huge clothing distributor that's trying to make textiles here back on American soil. So if these subsidies are to set off tariffs, to offset tariffs, and it promotes manufacturing here in America, I'm all for it.
So your hand signals made your camera zoom into your face.
It did it again.
I did it in the beginning where I put it in headless mode and it just showed my shirt, which I'll show my shirt later. But Rob, you said something interesting. Do you remember the last thing you said before Patty started talking?
You're gonna have to.
I'll remind you.
Remind
instantly, and this is your internalized racism. You're like,
oh shit, here we go. Listen, I'm 100% Sicilian, motherfucker. So let's get it straight.
You're like, yeah, no, for picking cotton. Not picking cotton. That was my internalized racism. Instantly, you went to cotton, right? Cotton doesn't come from sheep.
I know it doesn't.
Let's just remind you, white boy.
Well, it can. I mean, it's not
Listen,
good.
I think I got a little bit more of the melanin than you do, motherfucker.
Definitely.
Hey,
after
Rob, I lived in Sicily for 2 years, man. I'm
Oh, no kidding.
Catagnese, man. I used to live in Catania. Like, so I think we both live in New England, and I used to live in Sicily, and you're Italian. I think we're kind of paisano right now.
So,
Absolutely.
and my position is, I don't like subsidies because it's kind of like welfare, but I'm also a nationalist when it comes to some of these things. So, there is some social programs that I am for, and when it comes to and what we see here, I would like to exclude like big agriculture because that's a big problem. I was a chicken farmer. I was a poultry farmer for 3 years of my life. And what ended up happening is when I bought the farm, the person before me, they used to run it on their own, like an independent poultry farm. And then they signed a contract with a company called Gold Kiss, which got bought out by Purdue. And they started targeting the area by buying different poultry farms to the point where in northern Florida, in the Live Oak area and the Mayo area, there is no independent poultry farms left. Companies like that should not receive a subsidy, and I would like to see something in this bill. That's why the omnibus bill sucks, because then you could argue these things that these subsidies should not go to big agriculture companies and companies that sometimes are owned by big pharma companies. We see this a lot happen in that industry. So, like example, for this portion, if I was a congressman or a senator, I would want to put, and again, we don't know because maybe there is a provision on it. It's somewhere else in the law, not in this big, beautiful bill. So just shooting from the hip here, I'd be a no on this until they make that change. I don't want big, giant fucking corporations taking subsidies. If it is your average American farmer that has flocks of sheep, by all means, I am for it. I'm 100% for it.
It sounds exactly like what happened in Mass with fucking Ocean Spray taking over all the cranberries down in Carver and Middleborough and Lakeville and all the farmers that Patrick knows what I'm talking about. These guys are like indentured servants now to friggin' Ocean Spray, and I remember the bailouts. And Ocean Spray was begging for a bailout in 2009.
Oh shit! I forgot to call Pat back yesterday. Fuck, he's gonna roast me for it.
That
New
okay.
England Pat?
Patrick.
Yeah, what? No, not that Patrick.
No, tell him Patrick. That's my stomping grounds. That area.
Yeah. No, it's nice to have two New Englanders on this damn show at the same time. This is crazy.
Said nobody ever.
Yeah. Said me just now, motherfucker.
But you fucking retarded, kid. You fucking retarded.
No, hey, I grew up in Providence. I don't have that accent.
I've been to Boston. There's some tough
Even worse
motherfuckers in Boston, bro.
At the combat zone.
All right, so let's keep going through this. We're going to go to Title II, Committee on Armed Services. You guys can read this. This is long. Enhancement of Department of Defense resources for improving the quality of life for military personnel.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. I really want to read that, because that's important. Let's see what that is.
Roger.
I'm probably going to have a fit right now, but
well, there's a whole bunch of sections. Like the next section, I think
is important too.
It's something that I would love to see. It's enhancement of Department of Defense resources for shipbuilding, which is something that we've defined for a very long time.
Let's see what it says.
And here we go, Title II. In addition to amounts otherwise available, there are appropriated to the Secretary of Defense for fiscal year 2025 out of any money in the Treasury not otherwise appropriated to remain available until September 30th of 2029. $230,480,000 for restoration and modernization costs under the Marine Corps Barracks 2030 initiative. $119 million for base operating support costs for Marine Corps. Are my eyes fucking with me? And it says $1 trillion.
$1 billion. Yeah.
I mean,
billion.
I'm sorry, billion. Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say a trillion. $1 billion for Army, Navy, Air Force, and Space Force sustainment, restoration, and modernizations of military unaccompanied housing. So I'm guessing the $1 billion is for.
Does the Space Force need restoration? It's brand new.
Yeah.
No, but it's just the Air Force. That's they didn't make new housing for the Space Force. It's just the Air Force. So it makes sense.
So let me ask you, what is military unaccompanied housing? Do you know what that is?
That means single. It means it's BAQ. It's single people. Single.
Like if you're married.
Single people. Yeah, unmarried. Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. If let's say you get married and you have a kid and then you have a divorce, right? And this is just a question, like, do you get extra benefits or housing?
No, but if you're already in housing, you can stay in housing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's what that ends up being. Yeah.
$2 billion for the Defense Health Program.
I don't know what that is.
$3 billion to supplement the basic allowance. That's the BAH shit that you were talking about right now, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To supplement the basic allowance for housing payable to members of the armed forces, notwithstanding Section 403 of Title 37. $50 million for bonuses, special pay, and incentive pay for members of the armed forces pursuant to Titles 10 and 37.
Mm-hmm.
$10 million for the defense activity for non-traditional education support online academic skills course program for members of the armed forces. Another $100 million for tuition assistance for members of the armed forces.
Mm-hmm.
Another $100 million for child care assistance fees.
Which isn't enough, but yeah.
$600 million to increase the temporary lodging expense allowance. $100 million for Department of Defense impact aids. $10 million for military spouse professional licensure under section. Okay, what is that? Do you know what that is?
I don't know what that is.
It sounds like your spouse gets benefits for professional licensure. Like,
yeah, it might be. I'd have to look it up. I don't know what that is.
Yeah. $6 million for Armed Forces Retirement Home Facilities, ALFs, which I think is actually pretty low to think about it.
Yeah.
You know, one ALF down here in Miami makes a shit ton of money on a yearly basis, and it doesn't house too many people.
Is there any money in there for like Queer Sesame Street in Bangladesh?
You know, actually, after we're finished with this section, I want to see I want to put LGBT and see what we find. Like, we'll put some like keywords in there.
So,
because I know we do want to get to the AI portion of it. Because I know that
I think you should Command F faggot and see what happens.
Enrique,
surprisingly, there's a lot of instances. You're getting a lot of what? Go ahead.
I'm getting a lot of messages like in my DMs, and so people that are watching, please. I'm trying not to go to my DMs. If you have questions for everybody, type it in the little chat bubble down there. But
do you see any good questions?
Yeah, I do actually. A woman said, "You guys skipped the first part. It's regarding Medicaid. To receive benefits, an able-bodied person will be able to work. Will have to work 80 hours a month to receive Medicaid benefits."
Okay,
and that's big to some people. I'm
going to put a note on that so we can finish this portion. And she said 80 hours.
80 hours a month to receive Medicaid if they're able-bodied.
If she could, can she find me a search term? I'm guessing she's watching. If you could find me a search term for that subsection or a page number, that'd be great. Because then I can physically just go to it instead of searching. Because searching for the number 80 on here is going to be very tough.
She said it's in the first part. We glossed over it in the first part.
Okay,
I'll
see if you can get a page number because that first part does cover a lot of pages.
Okay.
Then it goes to this section B, temporary increase in percentage of value of authorized investments in certain privatized military housing projects. So I'm guessing like there's private companies that build these military housing projects. Let's go to the number. Wait, actually, right here, paragraph 1, subsection of 2875 of Title 10 United States Code, by substituting 60% for 33.33%. So I'm guessing they're decreasing the amount of money or private companies doing this, which I think is good, right? That's a cut.
It's probably not for the people who are taking advantage of it. I mean,
yeah, that's true. Substituting 60% for 45% on paragraph 2. Secretary concerned defined. In this subsection, the term secretary concerned has a meaning given such term in section 101. Oh, this is too much legal jargon right here. Temporary authority for acquisition or construction of privatized military unaccompanied housing. By striking secretary within each place. Yeah, this portion.
Yeah, I think I can make a comment on this whole thing.
Go ahead.
Whole era. Okay. So the thing is, military members and everybody who's a vet will tell you this, get paid an obscenely low amount of money, right?
They do.
It's one of the reasons that we don't recruit the best people that we could, is because the pay is so low, right? And no outgoing president has ever said anything more prescient, anything smarter than Dwight Eisenhower said when he said, hey, beware of the military industrial complex, right? He was right. We ignored it. And this is what we're dealing with right now. We could give everybody in the military a 15% pay raise and lower the military budget at the same time if we weren't sucking the dick of Northrop Grumman and Halliburton and Raytheon and all these other defense contractors who make us weapons we don't need to fight enemies that no longer exist. Okay, so the problem is that we're subsidizing an industry instead of subsidizing our people who actually go and fight. I mean, look, I never fought in combat. I was not, in any danger in my life except that one time I got the clap in Brazil. But what I'm saying
the other time in Portland.
Yeah, the other time in Portland, yeah. But the thing is, we could pay our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen more money if we would just stop buying tanks we don't need to fight the Soviets in 1987. But we're going to keep doing that because Northrop Grumman and Halliburton and Dick Cheney and all these scumbags want us to do that. This is a neocon hangover that I don't know why. Donald Trump is president right now. I thought we got rid of the neocons, but really we didn't, because we're still paying them money. So why don't we just improve the lives of all the service members that we're just talking about right now? We could pay them more money. We could give them better housing. We could recruit better troops, but we're not going to do that because we're going to pay Halliburton too much goddamn money. And this shit really fucking grinds my gears, man. It really pisses me off.
I want an Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think a lot of problems would be solved.
Give you a fucking Iron Man suit if we would.
Oh, wait, hold on. They can't give you an Iron Man suit. You can't get a fucking Iron Man suit without one of these big corporations taking fucking trillions of dollars from the government.
Well, I'm just saying.
It's a very it is excessive what they pay, and I'll give you as a DoD contractor for almost 12 years. I at least this portion I can say, when you invoice the government, it's different than invoicing a corporation or a private citizen. The government will pay almost any price that you put on that invoice. It doesn't matter if it's the going rate. I'll give you an example of another contractor that I knew. There's in one of the military does have these R-22 helicopters. It's not like the Little Bird or anything. It's like a transport helicopter. And in there's a gear that's about this small, and it goes right under the stick, and that part from the manufacturer cost $250. He charges the government just for the part $1,200, and he charges $10,000 to install the part, which is literally one screw. You literally don't have to take anything apart. You take one screw out, pull the pull it out of its socket, put it back in, put the screw in, and that's it. And for that, he charges $8,900, $8,800. And then I would do security assessments for corporations, big corporations like Macy's. And for more work, I charge Macy's 10 times less than what I would charge the US government to do the same exact job. And you could call me part of the problem, but part of the problem is that they pay out these things. There's no restrictions. They've been doing this for years. They've been doing this almost the entire since World War II, since they figured out that they just build war machines. In Normandy, when they stormed Normandy, like they would, if you see some of these pictures of when they were loading all these jeeps and tanks, like these things were brand new. Some of these sank to the bottom, and they knew all they had to do was throw bodies and machinery at the Germans in Normandy, and they'd eventually win. Was it a winning strategy? Yeah. Was it a crazy strategy? You could also say yes.
Well, I mean, it's like, who do you blame? The guy who stole your shit or the asshole who left the door open?
Yeah.
So I understand where you're coming from with that. But we should stop leaving the fucking door open.
I
know what I mean?
completely
That's it.
wholeheartedly agree
And
with
the
you.
problem is that we rotate people from DOD to Halliburton, back to DOD, back to Halliburton, back to the vice presidency of the United States. Like, that's where we have a fucking serious problem. Dick Cheney, Liz Cheney, that whole family, George W. Bush, these people are responsible for the most egregious, abuses of the military-industrial complex. And unfortunately, since that shithead left office, we haven't gotten much better.
So there's a lot of big numbers here, as you see this. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Barry.
Oh, I was just going to say that's Trump's fault too.
So there's a lot of
everybody's fault.
Yeah. So there's a lot of money in here. And, there are things that we're like, okay, well, we need a little bit more money for this. That doesn't sound enough. But the problem is, like, this money goes in and it goes like these $450 million. Do you actually believe that every dollar of this is going to go to the United States additive manufacturing for wire production and machining capacity for shipbuilding industrial base? Do you honestly believe that $450 million of that will
I do. As long as there is a couple $1 million put aside for like Maxine Waters' daughter or Matthew Graves' wife's nonprofit or something. As long as we put that aside, then yes, I do believe the $450 million will go.
I don't think it's enough.
So we could talk about shipbuilding in general. So shipbuilding, we've seen like we have an aged Navy, and obviously we have a sailor with us today. And we've seen like China ramp up their shipbuilding because obviously they have slave labor in China. So these corporations that make those ships for China, they're making them for pennies on the dollar. Literally for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, and they're making like 350 to R3.
Yeah,
but they're not making what we have. Like, here's the thing: we've made some bad mistakes in the Navy over the last decade or more. With these new generation destroyers and stuff that haven't worked out the way we wanted them to. But the fact of the matter is, the Chinese Navy has a couple of aircraft carriers, and we have ones that still best them from the 1960s. Okay, we've still got stuff on the West Coast that the Kennedy, I think, was recently decommed, but that Big John was still a badass. And I remember when I was in back 20 years ago, a friend of mine was stationed on Enterprise, which was commissioned in like 1969, right? It had 8 nuclear reactors on the fucking ship, right? It was the only one that ever did that. It was completely weird. And, it was still better than anything that almost anybody else had. So our Navy is still unchallenged, not even close. People talk about the Chinese Navy and saying, "Oh, well, this is a badass organ." It's really not. Like, it's really not. They're building some, carriers. It's not that impressive. I'm not that worried about it. What I'm worried about is our foreign, our diplomacy, our foreign policy to make sure that we don't have a war. I'm not concerned that if we did have a war, that we wouldn't win.
Question about the Navy, right? Are you familiar with how they name certain ships? Because there is
all
a
politics as far as how they name ships. Like, it ends up, it depends on who the president is.
But like certain ships, like certain classes of ships get named for certain things. Like certain class of ships get named for U.S. presidents. Other ships get named for like
gay activists,
generals. This is a story that broke, I believe, yesterday, and I was actually making fun of it because some guy commented. I'll show you the comment later, but Hegseth orders Navy to rename ship honoring gay rights activist Harvey Milk.
Oh, the Harvey Milk, yeah.
I didn't even know that we had a ship named
until I saw the article. I didn't know either. Yeah,
and
I do think they're kind of missing a bigger picture there, because a Navy ship with the last name of Milk. That's like the biggest epic gay porn scene I've ever heard of in my life.
You're a fucking funny boy now, huh? Gary, you're a funny boy.
Now let's continue to go. And here we're just looking at numbers: $500 million, $50 million, another $500 million, $750 million, $1 billion, $250,000. And then what the fuck is this? $4,600,000 for second Virginia class submarine. Oh, I guess that's the price of the fucking sub.
Just real quick, that to your guys' point earlier, that's what I think a lot of Americans fail to realize is the reason we excelled in World War II is because we were pumping out these massive ships every hour on the hour, and those manufacturing jobs they're all gone. We're not producing the ships that we used to. And I see what Patty's saying about Chinese military being made in China, janky compared to ours, but they still are like Rob said, fucking putting out 100, 300 to one of our ships. Man, this is a problem.
The difference I think is, if you think about the way the country reacted to World War II, you couldn't have if you have a pair of Levi's jeans or any jeans really, you get those copper rivets on your jeans. They didn't make those in World War II in the U.S. because we needed the copper to make weapons, right? And nobody complained. Everybody was like, "Yeah, good, no problem. That's what we're going to do." Women went into factories and worked because that's what we needed to do. It was called the war effort. That's what we needed to do. Now everybody acts like any kind of little inconvenience is a disaster, and you have to cry about it. Well, I'm not sure we could fight World War II right now. I'm just not. I don't think the country would be into fighting World War II.
I think here's the truth in I guess in modern warfare. I think we are geared to fight the next war, but I also at the same time believe that the next war is the last war.
That's probably true.
We don't conventional war. We're seeing it in the battlefield in Ukraine with the story that we talked about yesterday, that they used a swarm of drones that was hidden in a container that opened the lid. This is something out of a movie. It opened the roof of this thing, and the swarm of drones took out what seems to be a third of the Russian bombing fleet. And everything's happening with all these technologies, and I don't see a battlefield in the future, especially since we're on the Western Hemisphere and we're covered by two oceans. I don't see it fought by many troops on the ground. But I do think that it will be the last war. Now, to get right back into the money situation that we're seeing here, we are seeing large amounts of money into the military when it comes to a lot of these things, ship manufacturing. And then that goes back to a lot of these military tech firms like that you guys mentioned earlier, most of this money is going to go to those firms. Is this something? So I kind of see a pattern here, and if we keep going down this thing, we're just going to see big numbers like this. Is this something that you feel like you support? Obviously, shipbuilding is very important, but we do know that some of this money is not going to go to like. We know it's not going to.
I listen, Enrique. I would support all of this, but the likelihood, if you look back in history, when you see something like this, how often does it actually come to fruition?
Yeah,
like you're talking about $695 million for the implementation of a multi-ship amphibious warship contract. So $700 million for a contract. I mean that's
we're in the wrong business. We're in the wrong business, dude.
No shit, dude. I don't want to swing my hammer anymore, dude. I want to get into something like this.
And it gets exponentially worse as I keep going down this. I just keep seeing more and more
expansion of medium.
I think it's reasonable to say Americans, we have trust issues. We do not trust these people to do what they say they're going to do because they never fucking do.
They never do. So, I mean, all of this stuff looks great on paper, but
Enrique, I just sent you a photo.
It actually being
talking about
done and implemented. I don't think it's going to happen.
Peep it.
Okay. And what is this?
So that is the USS Arleigh Burke. It's a photo I took back in 2003 at the start of the war of a DDG, and that was one of the line items that we just saw. A ship that actually participated in that war that's going to get a whole bunch of money. That class of ship is going to get a bunch of money to, refurb in this bill. Yeah, there she is.
Okay.
I took that when I was 23.
Now, let me ask you, this ship is, you saw this ship, refurbished of this ship on the bill?
Yeah, there's something 850 million for DDGs to be refurbed, and those are some of the that was Arleigh Burke at that time was not new, but it wasn't old. Now that thing is ancient, but that class of destroyer, guided missile destroyer, is still kind of the class of the Navy as far as warfighting goes. And I was standing on the forecastle of that ship, which is the very front. About 30-40 feet away from the Tomahawk missiles that went off on March 19th of 2003, the first the target of opportunity at Iraq. And I actually got my eyebrows singed by the heat coming off those things when it went over to Iraq in the idiotic war that we started. But yeah, that's
what did you call the front of the ship?
The forecastle.
So were you the one hugging, or you the ones with the arms spread out when you were doing that?
No, I was the one with the camera like this. Yeah, but I had never seen a TLAM go off. I'd never seen a TLAM actually go off. So
what do you mean? Explain what that is.
So it's a Tomahawk missile. They're a bunch of wells where the Tomahawks come out. So you get the top pops off it, and it's going to come out soon, but it's not immediate. So you're just sitting there waiting, and there's a countdown, but they get down to 0, and it could be 10 seconds after before it actually goes off, or it could happen right away. So you're just sitting there waiting, and I'm waiting to take a photo. And if you Google my name and Tomahawk missile, you'll find a bunch of the photos and video that I actually, of them coming out. That's a couple of days before we actually fired. I think that was probably like the 16th or 17th of March in 2003.
Did you ever see them launch at night? Because I see a lot of.
Oh yeah, no. What was the craziest thing was when we fired, it was 3:00 in the morning. So they woke me out of bed and said, "Hey, get your ass out to the forecastle, get your camera and all this shit." So I'm running out there, and I'm a kid. I was only in E5. I was 22 or 23 at the time, and I'm standing there getting my gear ready, and we fire, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then all of a sudden, missiles start coming out of the water near us. I mean, very near us. And there were subs that I didn't even know was there. I mean, obviously, like the ops department and the captain knew that they were there, but there were submarines like right next to us. All of a sudden, it looked like the 4th of July. And I'm like, holy shit. Like for a minute or two, it didn't seem like it was nighttime anymore. It was like, God damn, man. Like, this is crazy. I had no idea that these things were floating right beside us underneath us. It was like a shocking situation.
Nothing like gives you like pure joy than like the might of the U.S. military when you're seeing those videos of some of these ships and like some of the ground troops and what we see. It is amazing.
Like that photo right there was right before we did what we call an unrep, which is an underway replenishment of fuel. So what we had a tanker come up beside us. I was in a helicopter when I took that photo. I was in CH-47, and we got back on the ship, and then they did the unrep. So a tanker comes up, and this is in the Red Sea. They come up and just run lines across while we're moving. They refuel you. So it's like getting gas in your truck while you're actually still driving. Like it's fucking crazy that they can do that, but it's like a routine procedure for the Navy. Like they do it every day, and it's just wild to actually see it.
It's our military is just impressive. I wish we could pick a month to celebrate them all month long. Do you guys have a month suggestion? We could pick like
I think June might not
military.
June,
all month long. We just celebrate. Yeah, Veterans Month.
Hey, Rob, I got. Are you using your microphone? Is it your? I think you have it set up like
one?
your. Yeah, tap it. Do me a favor, tap it. Yeah, that's not on. What I'm getting is like the feed from your computer. So it's probably like a microphone on your computer. If you go ahead into your settings and change the microphone to your mic, your is that a Rode?
The mic? No, it's a Shure SM7B.
Okay.
I got to dip out for about 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
Go ahead.
You know what it is? It's coming from it. It picked up the Osmo as the mic. Hold on.
Got it.
Oh, I thought.
I noticed because I was getting a lot of echo from you. Not echo, but I could hear room noise. So I mean, I guess we could continue going through this. And again, this portion's a different portion.
How's that? Can you
We're
hear
in
me now?
section. Yeah, I hear you. Tap the mic. Wait, I can't. No, it's still not the microphone. It's fine. It's not bad. I just, I'm an audio file, so.
No, it's driving me nuts too.
Enhancement of Department of Defense. Okay.
Yeah, enhancement of Department of Defense resources for integrated air missile defense. So I guess this might be I don't know. Yeah, this might be that Iron Curtain thing that they wanted.
Iron Dome.
I don't know because I haven't seen it in the news. So this might just be basic missile defense.
The Iron Curtain was the 1970s Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line.
Is it? Sorry.
Yeah.
5 billion, 2 billion, 7 billion. Layered homeland defense, in addition to amounts otherwise available, there are appropriated to the Secretary of Defense for fiscal year 2025 out of any money in the Treasury not otherwise appropriated to remain available until the 2029. Hypersonic defense systems, which is a huge issue. I don't know if you guys know too much about those hypersonic fucking missiles. They're almost impossible to bring down in some cases.
China and Russia have them. We don't.
Yeah. And that's and to go back on that military contract, to go back to those military contractors and like those big corporations, like those are the ones that do make these things happen. I'm going to let you guys talk about this. I got to take this quick phone call really quick.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the original point. All of this sounds great. I want to increase our military. I want to continue to have the strongest military in the world. But like you said, Patriot Rob, this money does not go to where they say it's going to go. So, I mean, it's the American people have trust issues.
A lot.
What's up?
A lot of trust issues. And as we keep going down this, we do see, and Patty, just to update you on what I said.
No, I was listening. I heard you.
Okay. Yeah. You know, so some of these companies, so it's kind of like you're fucked if you do, if you're fucked if you don't. So some of these defense contracts, you know, are needed, you know, and it's unfortunate.
No, obviously we need civilian, companies to make our military gear. The military doesn't manufacture it. So we don't build our own helicopters and shit. But the problem is that I just think it comes down to paying the troops the right amount of money, right? Like when I joined, I remember, I was 19 years old. I lived in Providence, Rhode Island. I joined as a journalist out of, a recruiting station that had like 2 people working there. And I was shocked at how much how the money I made as opposed to the money I was making cooking as a short order cook in a restaurant before I got there. And I was like, Jesus, this is terrible. It wasn't until I was like in Sicily and in E5 where I was making enough money to feel like I could go out and enjoy myself or whatever. It takes a sacrifice to be able to do that. And you can talk to guys like Joe who will tell you that the pay sucks. It just does. And if it didn't, we'd be able to get better people who wanted to stay longer, and we wouldn't have this problem. But like I said earlier, instead we're paying Northrop Grumman, and Halliburton too much money to make shit we don't need to fight wars that aren't happening. So we just have to do a bet. It's not the dollar amount that we're spending on the military budget. It's how we spend it. Right. And I think that goes for the whole budget. Right. I mean, it's not necessarily the dollar amount. It's like, what are our priorities? Do we care about the troops, or do we care about, subsidizing Halliburton? And that's the problem. I thought the neocons were gone. I really did. I thought the one thing that I thought when Trump got elected, I was like trying to look, because I'm an optimist. I was like, let's look for a positive thing in 2016. I'm talking about. And I was like, well, at least maybe he'll screw over the military industrial complex, and we'll get out of that a little bit. Yeah, wrong song, ding dong. It didn't happen. Instead, we're still sucking Halliburton's dick. And I don't understand why we're doing it, because this guy is supposed to be the dude who wouldn't do that. I don't know, man. I'm just disappointed.
And like most of this money is going to go to companies like defense contracting companies like that. And we did see, like, I've been scrolling for this. Oh, no, your mic's completely off.
Sounded like a fucking Daft Punk track.
Yeah. So most of this money is going to go to those defense. And then I've been scrolling through this for quite a little bit of time, and we did see the section on like military housing, like a small section on military housing, unlike projects for troops. Nope, it's not sounding good at all.
I wish I had my wife on right now to talk about this, because she's a Navy brat. Her father was an officer, and they lived in base housing for basically her entire childhood. And it was really bad in some cases, man, like really bad. And he was an officer. He was a captain when he retired, and they still had really shitty base housing. We can fix that if we just spend more money on that instead of on, Halliburton building tanks that we don't need to fight enemies who no longer exist.
Yeah.
But as long as we make sure that there's enough money put aside for queer Sesame Street and Malaysia.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, we got to have priorities here.
But most of the section was very small, and the numbers weren't as large when it came to like the actual troops, because here what we're talking about is like aerial system. And I get like some of these systems are expensive, but we spent so little time on like the actual people that run the military, actual members of the military, and we have all these contracts. So it's a push or pull here on what we can do. And like and it goes back to what I said about like modern warfare. modern warfare isn't really fought with troops. It's fought with now AI, which is something that we're going to cover on here. We're going to search for that AI section. And I think we're going to have a lot of opposing views between the four of us when it comes to AI and the restrictions.
Wait, it's called AI?
AI, yes.
I think it's A1.
I've been calling it A1. Fuck.
A1 sauce.
Yeah.
First of all, can we just say that if you put A1 sauce on your steak, you done fucked up already. Like
you're gay.
If you cook your steak correctly, you don't need
nothing.
A1 sauce. That's just, to me,
A1 sauce is for scrambled eggs.
Exactly.
Actually, now that we're talking about AI, there is a small section here about AI. $200 million for the development, the deployment of automation and artificial intelligence to accelerate the audits of the financial statements of the Department of Defense pursuant to Chapter 9A of Section 2222 of Title 10 of the United States Code. So we're here. I guess this is the first instance that we see artificial intelligence in this bill. Obviously, we didn't cover the first portion, which we're going to go back because somebody messaged Rob about that situation. I don't see. Oh, here's something else that I want to talk about. This is perfect that came up. For most of you, it's $20 million for defense cybersecurity programs of the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, which, as some of you may know, this is DARPA, and it's the brain of the Department of Defense, or was the brain of the Department of Defense before we had major military contracts, like you guys were saying with Halliburton and a couple Raytheon and a couple other of these contractors. And they had advanced technologies before a lot of these things came out. They had like a version of a drone back in the late 60s, an automated drone. And also they were pivotal in the creation of the famed AR-15 rifle back during Vietnam, when we weren't even in Vietnam.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the AR-15 is, although it's Armalite, it comes
Armalite 15. Yeah, right.
It comes from when we were funding
Check.
the war in Vietnam. We were sending weapons over, and like Asians obviously are small, and they were having a hard time just raising the rifle, so they needed to create a light rifle to send over to Vietnam, and just DARPA created the AR-15 as a light rifle, and it wasn't supposed to be like, obviously now we use the AR. It was just supposed to be for Vietnam, and DARPA was the one that put this together because they needed a lighter rifle, because Asians the Vietnamese couldn't pick up our rifles at that point. And they also, there's some sketchy shit there that kind of borders on the conspiracy theory. They did have something to do, some of the docs that had something to do with psychological warfare, and the MK Ultra project were transferred over to DARPA. And it's a cool story. But what ended up happening is they couldn't get enough funding from the government, and that's why they started contracting these corporations to outsource these technologies that we have in today's war. So, and one of the main, funny as it may be, the creation of the internet started
by
with
Al Gore.
DARPANet.
Yeah.
DARPA was the first one to create the internet, so they can for our missile defense, not missile defense. We used to be able to relay information from the radars from one point to another. So they made this thing called the DARPANet, so they could have quick communications. And from that, the internet was born through DARPA. So this is just me nerding out on this. I'm a big, I love what we used to do in warfare, and now obviously it's turned into a monster. So let's continue. I'm just going to continue to scroll. But I'm going to go back to table of contents.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you good.
Yep.
Give it a tap. Nope. It's coming from somewhere else. It's cool though. It's not bad. The audio's not bad.
No, it sucks.
Yeah. All right, I didn't want to say that, but yeah, kind of. But it's not.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing wrong. I got it all
it's
rooted to my
passable. It'll work.
Rodecaster.
It might be. You know what? It might be your browser. What are you on? Chrome?
Chrome, yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Usually Chrome will allow it. Are you on a Mac?
No, I'm not gay.
That's your first problem. That's your first. Windows users, you might win Gay of the Day for saying that tomorrow.
Oh shit.
All right. So I think I've had enough of this section, dude. I mean, most of this, like $1.5 billion for Sentinel Intercontinental Ballistic Missile Program. Does it fund actual missiles or just the research, the R&D portion of it? We don't know. So I'm going to go back to page 3, which is where
Trump did say he was going to strengthen the military. He ran on it, so it should be no surprise.
It's not a surprise. It's not a surprise. That's not.
We don't need more strength. We need more fucking pay. I mean, I don't know how.
And more transgender Sesame Streets.
No, I don't give a shit about that. I just think that E3s should make more than fucking $500 a week. You know, fuck.
Did you ever get Rob? Did she ever send you a message on what section? No, we don't hear you.
How about now?
Yeah, we hear you good. Did she ever give you a message on what section here we should be looking at when it came to the nutrition portion of it, the Committee on Agriculture?
And
it's, you said 80 hours. I'm gonna see if I could.
For Medicaid, 80 hours a month to receive Medicaid benefits.
I mean, here it says at page 354, which I don't even know what subsection this is. And there's only, there's 3 sections where it has participate in a work program not less than 80 hours.
There it is.
But what section is this? What is this talking about? Let me see if I find the subsection really quick. Community engagement requirement for applicable individuals. Date as the state may specify to succeeding provisions of the subsection. A state shall provide as a condition of eligibility for medical assistance for an applicable individual that such individual is required to demonstrate community engagement under paragraph 2. In the case of an applicable individual who has filed an application for medical assistance under a state plan or a waiver of such plan under this title for one or more, as specified by the state, consecutive months immediately preceding the month during which such individual applies for such medical assistance. In the case of an applicable individual enrolled in receiving medical assistance under a state plan, under this title for one or more months, whether not consecutive, during the period which such individual most recent determination of eligibility and such individual's next regularly scheduled redetermination of eligibility, or in the case the state has elected under paragraph 4 to conduct more frequent verifications of compliance with the requirement to demonstrate community engagement during the period. This is so painstaking. Determined in accordance with criteria, the individual works not less than 80 hours. The individual completes not less than 80 hours of community service. The individual participates in a work program for not less than 80 hours. It doesn't specify per week because that would be insane.
Yeah. No, it's per month.
Requirements to establish Medicaid community engagement requirements for certain individuals. Requirement for states to establish Medicaid community engagement requirement for certain individuals. So what do you guys take from this? Because I'm kind of lost in the sauce here.
Well, my takeaway would be the fact that my microphone's not working is pissing me off. My takeaway from this is there are people that are gaming the system out there that are perfectly capable of working. And I think 80 hours a week 80 hours a month is
I think that's
is
what
a
it
small
means.
price to pay.
Is that considered part-time, right?
I mean,
20 hours a week?
yeah, 20 hours
Yeah.
a week. Yeah, they can go work at Walmart.
Okay.
Yeah,
What do you-
I think that
what-
that it's perfectly reasonable to expect people to work a minimum amount of hours if they can. But I think what you're going to find is that this affects basically fucking nobody. Like, okay, congratulations, you're gonna get some people who are scamming the system off, and that's good. I'm with that. But the idea that this is going to save a ton of money is a fucking joke. Like, it's not. Most people on Medicaid can't work. That's why they're on fucking Medicaid. You know what I mean? Because they're physically unable to work. My wife is a nurse in the ICU at Boston Medical Center, and most of the people who come in, almost everybody who comes in that hospital is on Medicaid. So it's just really like, okay, fine. If this makes you happy, then pass it. I'd sign it. I'd vote for it if I were in Congress. But I'm not under some delusion that it's going to save us a shitload of money, because it isn't.
Well, I kind of disagree with you there. And the reason why I disagree with you is I'm from Miami, right? This is like Medicare, Medicaid fraud of capital of the United States. And like the amount of money in
Don't put
fraud,
yourself back in jail, man. Don't do it.
dude. Let me tell you, I would never do it because it's just so tempting and risky or whatever. But like some of these people make so much fucking money billing Medicare. And I actually in the audience here, I have my fellow Cuban from Miami that I'm sure he knows a whole bunch of people that have gotten popped for, billing Medicare, and they take 50 million at a time. And if we look at example, we go back to those housing programs that we saw with the military, right? And just that subsection right there. I could tell you that out of the people that I've known my entire life, that's how much money that they've stolen from Medicare,
And FBI Miami prison, 1 out of every 3 fraud cases, Medicare fraud.
Listen, you go into the federal system,
Not surprising.
and you see a Cuban, 90%, there's a 90% chance that Cuban took money from Medicare. It's Medicare fraud. My case from 2013 doesn't have to do with Medicare at all, but it does have to do with something medical. So it's like a big thing down here. That's where I see the problem. And then what they do is they find people that are that are people that are fully capable of working. And I just covered myself by putting Jose's comment up here. But regardless, we see it all the time. And I do think it is a problem because they do find people that they have access to Medicare and Medicaid, and they do bill these companies. And it's usually people that are able-bodied individuals that are just coming into clinics and charging, tens of thousands of dollars for a procedure that never existed. So,
yeah, and I totally understand that and believe it. And it's cool that it's in this bill to try and stop that from happening. I just don't think that it's something that's going to save us a bunch of money. I mean, it'll save some money, and good, cool.
Yeah. And I don't know everybody. Go ahead.
Come on. It's really, is this a national crisis? I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't know everybody in Miami, obviously, but just with the short amount of people I know,
I heard you did know everybody.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Rob, we definitely don't hear you. Actually, I'm getting feedback from your roadcaster. Every time I talk,
you may not know everybody in Miami, but everybody.
I know
in
enough
Miami
people to cover the housing, the money that we're spending on housing on this bill.
Is that better?
No,
No.
absolutely not.
No.
Rob, don't worry about your audio.
Patriot Rob Zombie has joined the show, and that's what we're dealing with right now.
So this portion of the bill, I guess, yeah, I do agree that this is. You think it's not a problem, but I mean, just show of. Do you guys agree with having some type of work requirements, 20 hours a week, as it says here, for
Sure. I mean, it's fine with me. I don't care.
Yeah. One thing I notice happening is I think as Americans, we're becoming so watered down. Like they're like, oh, well, Doge only found 9 billion in waste there. Only 9 billion. I mean, it's when you see Congress say, oh, well, we spend $1 trillion. Like in Americans' minds, we can't even fathom that much amount of money. Like if I tell you, Patty, hey, bro, I lost 10 grand at the casino, you're gonna be like, well, you're an idiot. That's a lot of money, right? But if I say government's just lost $1 trillion, like we hear it as citizens, we're like, oh, what? I don't even know what that means. But in theory, $1 trillion in $5 bills stacked up on one another goes past the moon. Look it up. And we've just
I hear what
down.
you're saying, but the thing I would say is that, like, so okay, we're going to save this amount of money with Doge or whatever, which is basically firing government employees. All right, but if we're going to pass a spending bill like this big beautiful woman bill, like, and we should talk about who your favorite BBW is later, but because probably all of us have one, but if we're going to do that, didn't we just undermine what Doge was supposed to do? If we're going to add $4 trillion to the debt, we completely undermined what Musk was supposed to do. So why did we even fucking bother with it? Why are we even arguing about it? It's goofy.
I agree. I just hope that I hope that maybe there is something that we're not seeing, that, okay, yeah, we're adding this, but we're subtracting this, and the number is still in the benefit of American citizens. That's what I hope the picture, the bigger picture is. But
I hope I wake up tomorrow 6'4", but that's probably not fucking gonna happen.
It's weird. Is I actually woke up the other day and decided to identify as a tall black NBA basketball player. Hit up Kim Kardashian, told her, still wouldn't sleep with me.
You identified.
Life isn't fucking fair, Barry.
You identified as Brittany Griner. So okay,
would you rather fuck Barry or Brittany Griner?
Oh Jesus! Don't put that on me, Satan.
Brittany Griner,
Satan.
I'd rather become a priest.
So check this shit out. So let's keep going down this list.
Oh wait.
And or let's get what are the because we'll be here all day, and we're an hour and a half in, and again I wanted to spend some time on this shit. But what are the I guess the more controversial things that you guys have heard about this bill? And Rob, I know that you put it through AI, and what do you guys think is the most controversial portions?
I think the AI is one of the most controversial of it all. The money put aside for Palantir, awarding them the contract for both of their very nefarious programs called Foundry and Gotham. I think the fact that I'm very leery anytime the government takes states' powers away from them. Like that there is a separation. States have the right to have power over their citizens, and when the federal government overreaches and says, no, you can't do something, and we are going to control it completely, irrespective of, let's say, all right, I live in New Hampshire, we don't want AI this, or we don't want AI that. We have no control over that for 10 years. Again, it's all about limiting government. I mean, one of our tenets, Enrique, limited government, maximum freedom. And when the government says, no state, you can't do this. I mean, this is exactly what happened with Roe versus Wade. It was returned back to the states so that the states can choose what they want to do as far as abortion goes. And now all of a sudden we have Trump saying in this bill, and I'm not, listen, guys, I voted for him 3 times. I think honestly and truly the best thing he's ever done so far in office was to release everybody from J6. That was, like, as far as I'm concerned, up until now, it's his crowning achievement, first and foremost. And I have waved this guy's flag. I got 2 flags on my motorcycle. If you guys look at some of my pictures on X, I got one American flag and the other one a Trump flag on my bike, dude. And I fucking drive it around everywhere. I have unwavering support for this guy. After this bill and after this Palantir thing, this to me is reminiscent of 2003 and 2004 when I was yelling at people about the Patriot Act and everybody being a bunch of capitulating fucking bitches and saying, oh, no, we need it. No, we don't. And when I was telling all the guys that I ride with then, I said, guys, listen, they're going to weaponize this. And Bush would never do that. Bush would never do that. And look at where the fuck we are right now. All this bill does and all this contract with Palantir does is expand the scope of the Patriot Act.
So, Rob.
Yeah.
So I guess I saw the Palantir thing. I don't comment on shit I don't know anything about.
I can tell you all about it, bro.
But I'm really familiar with who Palantir is and what the accusations, or maybe not just the accusations, but maybe the truth behind it is. I totally
the Jews
with you on that. Yeah, there's a whole people there. The guys, and you've seen the video of the CEO of Palantir going after the far right.
Mm-hmm.
But let's we'll touch on Palantir a second. So let's touch on this artificial intelligence thing. So I put it in the search query, and then the first time it pops up after the table of contents is here where we read the $450 million for the shipbuilding, right? So let's go down these and let's see where AI is mentioned the other 30-ish times that's on this bill. Second time, 124 million for improvements to test resource management center artificial intelligence capabilities. For improvements to test resource management center. I don't know what that is and what subsection this is part of.
Can I sum all this up for you?
Well, I just want to see where we're spending the money for artificial intelligence. Another $250,000 for the advancements of artificial intelligence ecosystem, and this also has to do with the military
companies. That's giving companies $250 million to make one cohesive, centralized Skynet.
$250 million for the expansion of cyber commands, because I know that we're going to disagree on some of these artificial intelligence projects, especially when it comes to the states' rights, and we'll get to that in a second. I just want to go through these. Another $250 million here for cyber commands, another $200 million for the deployment of automation, artificial intelligence to accelerate the audits of financial system. We read this too. There's part two. There's a whole part to this: artificial intelligence and information technology modernization, which is scary. So let's read this section.
So it's funny if you go up, they're talking about if you go back up and you just scroll up a little further, they're talking about the bandwidths for 5G. There you go.
Yeah. I saw 5G in here a little while ago too. 5G and 6G come up together. So I'm going to read this portion. Appropriation of funds. There is hereby appropriated to the Department of Commerce, the DOC, for fiscal year 2025 out of any funds in the Treasury not otherwise appropriated, $500 million to remain available until September 2034. To modernize and secure federal information technology systems through the deployment of commercial artificial intelligence, the deployment of automation technologies and replacement of business systems in accordance with antiquated. Yeah. So that's kind of scary.
Teach you proper English in Cuba, did they?
Listen, my first language is fucking Spanish, you fucks.
Or as we say in New England, Cuba. that would be how we pronounce it.
To replace or modernize within the Department of Commerce legacy business systems with state-of-the-art commercial artificial intelligence systems and automated decision systems. To facilitate within the Department of Commerce the adoption of artificial intelligence models that increase operational efficiency and service delivery. Department of Commerce, the cybersecurity posture of federal information technology system through a modernized architecture, automated threat detection, and integrated artificial solutions. Right?
Sure.
Yeah, you're getting to the real scary part.
Yeah. Here we go. This is actually what we were discussing, and I won't go. I'll keep going further, but let's talk about this. Except as provided in paragraph 2, no state with a capital S or political subdivision thereof may enforce during the 10-year period beginning on the date of enactment of this act any law or regulation of that state or political subdivision thereof limiting, restricting, or otherwise regulating artificial intelligence models, artificial intelligence systems, or automated decision systems entered into interstate commerce. So this is something on the last show, me and Patty were discussing the future, and we were talking about AI, and I have certain points of view that have to do with AI and things that we could avoid and we can avoid. I'm going to take this off the screen so we can go ahead and discuss it. So I'll Rob, since this is such a big issue for you, I'll let you kick it off.
So I usually host or co-host the Colonel Rob Mena show during the week. Sometimes I host it, and he has really great guests on. He's a big fan of yours. He's been talking about you guys for a long time, and he had a guest on last week, and this was on Steve Bannon. So they were talking to the developer programmer was telling the AI that it was working with that he was going to shut it down. This was a test that they were doing. They were going to shut this AI down and replace it with something else. The AI came back with, if you shut me down before you do, I will tell your wife about an extramarital affair. So this was on Bannon. It's already aware enough. Okay, you might not say that's sentience, but self-awareness is as close to sentience as it could be without being. It was self-aware enough that it hacked the guy's devices, found out that he was having an extramarital affair on his wife, and threatened to tell his wife about it if they shut the program down, shut the AI down. If people don't believe that AI will become self-aware, and look, if I were to look at the world from a completely analytical point of view and a rational point of view, human beings suck. Mm-hmm. Like, for the most part, we don't deserve the grace that God gave us and the love, because we prove every day that we're violent and we have evil machinations about shit. And you look at this world, dude. If I looked at it from a computer's point of view, like, we're all fucking nerds here. We grew up watching Terminator and all of these movies that told us, watch out for fucking AI, right? Hollywood has been predictive for 40, 50 fucking years. And if I were to look at the world the way it is right now, from a computer's point of view, mm-hmm. like Agent Smith said, we are a virus. And I don't trust computers, dude. And I don't trust AI. And I don't trust that AI is going to be, it may not ever become sentient, but self-aware is scary enough. And with this AI threatening the programmer the way it did, if we're there now, where are we going to be in a year? Look at how much AI has advanced us at least in the last 3 years. Look at how generational leaps in 3 years.
Just to note, I was in prison when the first AI large language model came out. So I just wanted to note that, because I do want to say how I feel about this. Barry?
Is it possible that all these see, I go back to the libertarian in me. I don't think the federal government should be telling states what to do, period. But is this an attempt to preemptively cure AI from doing this, or prevent AI from becoming self-aware, whatever the major scare is? Is keeping the federal government involved from the beginning preventing this from happening? Are these preventative measures? Or is this just blatant government control? Because are we actively doing anything to prevent Terminator from happening?
Well, this
Is
is
there
more
preventative
about
measures?
this is more about Palantir using the AI for their software foundry and for social credit scores. And there's going to be states that are going to push back on that shit, like mine. My state, it's not mandatory to get the little gold star on your driver's license, and we fought it for years. So we've been fighting the real ID here in New Hampshire since its inception. So a state like mine, or a state like maybe Wyoming, any of these true like red states that don't want government intrusion in their lives are going to say, no, you can't use this on our citizens. And this is what, taking it out for 10 years, and after a year, it's going to have all the information it needs anyway. It doesn't even need 10 years.
So we're almost essentially giving one company exclusivity to deal with AI program.
Well, it's two companies.
Yeah.
Anduril and Palantir. Both, by the way, if you guys are nerds enough, you know what the Palantir is, right? It's the crystal ball that is probably the second most evil object in all of the Lord of the Rings, next to the One Ring. The Palantir is that crystal ball that can see and scry into the future. It's pretty ironic that they named their company.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that because I actually got laid in high school. But
listen, I got laid in high school too, motherfucker. But
what I was going to say about AI that bothers me the most is that it's destroying the jobs that kids get to learn how to be professionals. Like your first job, most kids had first jobs were fast food jobs, right? Or small restaurant jobs. They're being replaced by kiosks now. Okay, that's convenient for us, but we got a whole generation of kids who don't know how to show up for work on time, learn how to deal with customers, deal with the boss, just be members of society before they go to college or before they go into the workforce for real. They need to learn how to just be a fucking employee, right? And if we lose a whole generation of those people, we're going to end up with a bunch of kids who are fucking utterly useless and unemployable by the time they're 24. And that's not a good thing. Not a good thing.
As opposed to...
No, but I mean, look, it's better. Look, we were dumbasses when we started working. Like when I got my first job at a pizzeria, I didn't know what the fuck to do, but I learned. And by the time I had my second or third job, I knew, hey, you got to show up on time. You got to talk to people this way. This is how you do it. You got to dress this way. This is the way it is. And that's what we need to do. But we might lose that with AI. Like we could really lose that. And that's a real problem.
See,
I don't want to sacrifice that for convenience is what I'm saying.
So here's my take. And you said we could lose that. And I think it's a foregone conclusion that we are going to lose that. So here's I guess I peered into the future. You probably know of him, Patty or Barry. His name's Chuck Johnson, Charles Johnson, and I met him through Gavin. Wait, who has those clicks? Oh, I met him, and he started this company called Clearview AI, and it really wasn't an AI company at the time. It was a facial recognition software, and it was in its beta. And he was a hidden investor. Chuck Johnson made his money during the big crypto boom of 2017. He invested his money into this company called Clearview, and Clearview had the best facial detection software, and it was so powerful that the government had to regulate it, and they regulated it to the point where only law enforcement agencies were able to use it. The first time I got to witness this beta testing of this app, it would collect information all across the internet, and all you had to do was point your camera at somebody and take a picture and put it through Clearview AI. It would tell you everything about this person that's on the internet. And then these government agencies started using it, and then they started using it for the wrong reasons. Now, my position, now obviously these large language models have gotten to a point where I don't know if you guys have seen the new Google video thing that somebody we had before was talking about. This Google video AI that's creating these videos is so legit. I mean, it's perfect. It's almost beyond perfect.
Somebody made a baby of me. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Now, I am not one for the regulation of AI. And it's because of the black pill in me that knows that there is no way to stop these models. And if we try to regulate them, we will, China's not going to regulate these things. The Russians aren't going to regulate these things. The Indians are not going to regulate these things. They will have powerful AI models with no restrictions that will do everything that you're talking about. I think AI is the devil. I think AI will become sentient. I think it will be the destruction of humanity. And I know that there's nothing that we can do. And then I'm going to go into my Christian beliefs. I by far, I'm not the perfect Christian. I'm not afraid of the future because I believe in Jesus Christ. But I do think that in this material world, regulating AI would be the downfall of humanity, and it will be the downfall of humanity a lot quicker if of the United States. I'm sorry, a lot quicker if we do not leave these AIs and we restrict them from being used. I'm sorry, but I don't see this ending. I don't see this movie ending very well.
No, it never does.
And I think that obviously you got to do your best. I said this on yesterday's show. You got to do your best to do what you can to make America great again or humanity great again. And you should be comforted with just that effort. But I'm letting you know right now, and I'll get into the political spectrum. We only have 3.5 years of Donald Trump. What's going to happen after that? I don't know. But I know that we're going to go downhill no matter what happens. I think that, and to focus on this bill right now, there's a lot of good provisions in there that are probably good, and a lot of provisions that we'll keep going after, and we'll keep dissecting this. I just don't see, I'm going to repeat myself with the day before yesterday's show. What you said, Patty, is like it's taking over most of these jobs. And I think that almost every job that's not like physical labor, and even those are in danger too. We've seen these robots. We've seen do the work of a warehouse manager and a warehouse employees with 2 or 3 robots. It does the job of like 10. I think that was the Chinese warehouse robot. I think that even if they take these jobs, American culture right now is so it looks like we're getting lazier and lazier. So even if the example I used is we saw that ICE went into a construction site and took a whole bunch of illegals out, and they're going to deport them. So that company now doesn't have a jobs, and people are like, oh, now it opened up a whole bunch of jobs. Like what? Who's going to fill these jobs? Because there's nobody that's going to apply for them. You need people that want to apply for a construction job in order to have it. Like we're so far gone that I don't know how we go back.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, living in Boston and having lived in Dorchester for 10 years, I can tell you that what's going to happen is like every guy I would hang out with at the the Banshee on Dorchester Avenue in Boston would tell they're illegal Irish immigrants. And nobody gives a flying ass fuck that they're illegal immigrants. They're like, oh, well, they're Irish. They got a nice accent. They come in, they work. We don't care about it. Nobody's going to go and fuck with those people. They're just not. But they're going to go drag a busboy out of a fucking restaurant up the street because they're like, oh, you're here illegally. This is where it gets like straight racial and straight stupid. And none of those illegal Irish immigrants from Cork or from Donegal or from fucking Dublin are going back to Ireland. It's not going to happen. My family is all from Ireland, so I understand why they come here, right? But this is a bullshit argument all the way around.
I want to be clear, touching on what Patty was saying. I do support ICE going in there and deporting. I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm saying like
they selectively do it though.
The consequences of our culture has made like those jobs unfillable. Like what what teenager wants to go fucking pick strawberries or any of these jobs that illegal?
It's not going to happen.
These
They're
damn
gonna die
teenagers
on the
can't even
vine.
pick their pants up off the
You
damn floor.
don't. So my gripe is with the culture. That's what my gripe is right now. It's not with the deportations. Like, we voted for this. I can't say I voted because I was in prison, but we voted for this, and this is what it looks like, and it doesn't look pretty, and it's not meant to look pretty on a fucking camera. But I just don't. My problem is, like,
Well, what happens if we deport all the people who are doing the jobs that Americans are straight up not going to do? And if you think they're going to do these jobs, if you think there's some white American kid who's like, man, I really want to be a busboy, but I can't get a fucking job because of all these Mexicans, you are what's called a fucking moron. Like, this is not true. This
by
is
all means.
bullshit.
By all means, I would still celebrate if they deported Irish illegal immigration too. So by all means, it's not a race thing. You know, if they deport you tomorrow, Patty, I'm sorry. You know, we could still. There's still.
I'm a citizen, but my father was the first American-born citizen in my family. Right, first American-born. Right. My grandmother was an immigrant. She came here. The only thing she knew how to do at the time was cook a meal and change a diaper. And because she's Irish, cooking a meal, not so great. Anyway, but she came here and made a living, had 7 children, right? All of whom are productive members of society. All their grandchildren are productive members of society, except for me. And we consider this a success, right? Yeah. So why are we trying to fuck with immigrants like this, man? Like, it just doesn't make any damn sense.
We could do a whole show on immigration. But that's so, Rob, I am not for regulating AI, but not for the reason that other people think. I just think that I think that we're going in a direction like crypto, for example. You know, we started with bitching about Patty's favorite president, you know, taking away the gold standard, right? Then we went to paper money, and now we're going to digital assets that really don't amount to anything. Nope. And you know, you can't argue. I mean, I don't think you can argue that the future is crypto, that the future is AI, and the future, and you could also be of the mind that all of those things are horrible for humanity.
Just because it is the future doesn't mean I have to accept it.
I'm with you.
Or like it, yeah.
Or like it, and not rail against it.
The Palantir thing, and we could probably talk about it like on another show. The Palantir thing, I don't know enough about, but I do think that just by I'm seeing is something I'm completely against, because it's true. It's the more advanced version of the Patriot Act. And Barry was me and Barry went to go speak at an event, and that was Barry's like main point was to dissolve the Patriot Act, which, you know, we're not seeing any motion.
And this expanded exponentially.
Yeah, just recently they just voted to renew it. You know, when they had an opportunity to even appeal it, amend it, pull it back. Nope. They just went in the dead of night.
Like you imagine, and you imagine when we're talking about like having these town halls, like unfiltered town halls by members of Congress, and this topic of the Patriot Act coming up, I cannot imagine a single person in that room raising their hands and being like, yeah, I support this. So it's not like, and it goes back to, I saw this poll the other day, which I thought was the most retarded. And I think it had to do with Thomas Massey. And I think Thomas Massey probably did it himself. And he goes, who should I answer to, or whatever? The president, the Constitution, and I forgot what the third one is.
A whole bunch of things, and then somebody puts in
the constituents. That is who you're representing, your constituent. It isn't about your own beliefs. I mean,
you guys remember, all of you? Do you remember like where you were politically, or just like emotionally after 9/11 or whatever, when the Patriot Act passed? like in what you felt at that time? Because this is a long time ago, and I think a lot of a lot of viewers may not remember because they may not have even been born at that time, or they might have been children. Like, what did you feel at the time about the Patriot Act?
Rage.
I was a stupid little kid that knocked on doors to reelect George Bush. So I can't tell you that I was very like in tune. I just wanted to piss off my coworker. That's actually the first red pill I had. I worked at Blockbuster and I had this fucking kid that was a John Kerry fan, and he wouldn't stop talking. And I was political because I come from a political household, but I was a kid, I was just trying to get laid and just fucking just party. So like when
And
he
that's
started
different
doing that,
from what
I got this
now?
rage. Yeah, there's no difference. I had this rage in me that I was like, fuck this kid. So I start arguing with him, and then I start knocking on doors for George Bush. He wins. I get to go to work and fucking like put my balls in his face. It was the best feeling in the world, but I can't tell you that I knew anything about the Patriot Act or what I felt at the time, because it wasn't a thing to me.
So in 2001, this is a deeper question. 2001, who did everybody vote for?
I 2004 was the first time I voted, and again, I was doing the same thing that fucking Enrique was doing, knocking on doors for George Bush. I was 18. I didn't really know any better.
Yeah. Okay.
I just knew I didn't.
So I guess I'm the only one who's going to be different. I voted for Ralph Nader because I thought he was funny on Bill Maher's show.
Is it true that if you voted for Bill or Ralph Nader, that you got a shiny new spaceship if he had won the presidency? I heard that's what he was.
I guess we'll never know.
I want to get this on the record, Rob.
a little bit.
If you were able, I don't know if you were able to vote in the 2000 election, who would have you? Not even looking back, just at that time, how looking back, who would have you voted for that was even an option for the 2000 election?
So if I can give a little context to this, in 1984, I watched the Senate hearings with Tipper Gore, Al Gore's wife, wanting to ban music. She was creating this thing called the PMRC. Now listen, you guys can see behind me, I am an old school metalhead. I have been thrash, death, speed metal my whole life since the 80s. All of my politics comes from my music. Okay, all of my political beliefs. And in 1992,
she wanted the explicit label. Yeah.
Well, and this was in '84, and then we watched Dee Snider and fucking Ozzy Osbourne and everybody go to Congress, and she got offended by Prince's Darlin' Nikki. It hurt her daughter, and all I knew was that my music shit on Tipper Gore for 10 years, for a decade, and I swore that I was never going to be like those people. So I voted for Ross Perot, and I have voted conservative my entire life. I have never changed at all, ever. I've never felt that the Democratic Party is a party that reflects my beliefs. I can't vote Democrat, especially now. I mean, it's been co-opted by psychos. So no, I voted for Bush. Absolutely. I was not voting for Al Gore or his wife. And in 2004, is the only time in my life I abstained from voting because I was so pissed off about the Patriot Act.
So you admit that you voted for John McCain?
I didn't. Yeah, well, I guess
Enrique, there's a comment that you should put up that says "2 Live Crew," and
Two Live Crew.
That's
but that was long,
cool.
Yeah, but that was long after Darlin' Nikki. But seriously,
Dolores Tucker that led that shit.
So
my whole life has been raging against the government. Like my music and the lyrics shaped my political views on things, and I have always been anti-government and anti-big government. And I didn't know enough about the Bush legacy. I knew about Bush Sr. but for me at that point, it was, and then I voted against Obama just on principle alone. That was a protest vote both times.
I will tell you that I am highly disappointed in Barry and Rob right now when we're talking about the 2000 election. Because the correct answer to my question was Pat Buchanan. Pat Buchanan was ahead of his time in 2000, just like Dr. Ron Paul was.
Pat Buchanan wasn't ahead of his time in 1473. Pat Buchanan belongs in the fucking dark ages. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
This book was published in 2001, and if you read it, it's like it was written yesterday.
Yeah, it is a book that you read it and you start, and it's a book that black pills you, that makes you understand how the system works. So but yeah, I mean, obviously in 2000 I couldn't vote, but I was a George Bush fan at the time because I got arrested.
Am I the oldest motherfucker on this panel?
No, Rob said he was looking at something from fucking 1984. So
I was born in 83.
Senate hearings in 1984. I was born.
Oh, wait, you were born in 83. Rob, when were
84, 84. I was born in 84, dude.
I was born in 83.
I'm the oldest person. I was born in 1980.
How old are you,
I'm the oldest person on this fucking panel.
No, you're not.
I'm 45. Jesus Christ almighty. I'm
50.
prettier than all of you. That's sad.
My dog is 77.
No, I just turned 50.
So
Okay,
I don't feel like it. I don't look it, but no, I was born. No, I actually. Oh shit, I'm 51. Motherfuck, I just turned 51.
You forgot how old you are?
Yeah, dude. I don't want to even think about it. Are you fucking kidding me?
Christ almighty.
So back to this bill. And Rob, I know that you got to leave soon. I saw your text message. So whenever you're ready to bounce out, just go ahead.
Yeah, I got another 20 minutes, and then my son just came home from school, and I got to go kick his ass.
Oh, good.
All right, hey guys, before you get into this, I do have to walk George, so I gotta dip out.
Did you say you got to walk George?
I have to walk George, my golden retriever.
Oh,
my buddy.
Okay.
He has to take a piss. I got to walk him.
You put a human name on him?
Yeah. Well, we call him Jorge sometimes.
I'm going to ask a quick question about.
So, Enrique, how does
not a human name?
Better? Can you guys hear through this microphone?
Yeah, we hear.
Yeah, we can hear through that microphone.
So it sounds better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good.
So about dogs, because I was going to ask our top comment dude, Jose Galan, in that picture, and just comment there for a second. Is that a Belgian Mallee that you have standing next to you in that profile picture? But I do find it weird, Patty, that you named your dog after a human.
I named him after my grandfather.
Okay.
He was a hell of a dude. Anyway, yeah. But we call him, when I get angry at him, I call him Jorge. I say, Jorge, get here.
I have,
you know what I mean?
I have three. I have two pit bulls and a Frenchie.
Keep doing that. You might get deported.
So, yeah. All right, guys, it was awesome to be here.
Look at that little rat.
Longer, but I got
fucking real man's dog right here, bro.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Hey, if you guys are still doing it in 15 minutes, I'll come back in.
Okay. We'll probably be on for, I'd say, another 40 minutes, give or take.
Okay.
30 minutes.
All right. So I'll probably be back here in a few minutes, guys.
Okay.
Every time I walk Martini on her little pink leash, I get hit on. They seem like really nice guys. I just don't get into that shit. But nonetheless.
Did you say that fucking dog is named Martini?
It is. It is Martini.
Oh my God, dude.
Bro, I have a wife. She had the dog before me. There's nothing I can do about it.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there any other besides artificial intelligence? Because I've been kind of scrolling while we've been in here, and it kind of it goes over the same thing, and it's those it has to do with contracts with the federal government, contracting for more information about Americans, and it's very clear that it says that. There's no two ways about it. Like, you don't have to be an AI, a lawyer to read through that, and that's definitely a thing, and it definitely is scary. It definitely is scary that the U.S. government is putting this on a bill specifically an omnibus bill, when these things should be separate.
What if AI added itself to the bill?
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. We've been working on this lawsuit, this DOJ lawsuit, for almost 2 months now. And we got to send the attorneys involved like a lot of information. And basically I write my notes and I do put it through AI to send it to them. And I tell them I send them 2 versions. I ask AI just to kind of make all my notes into something legible, and then I ask AI after it makes it legible to make it a legal argument. So I send him both, and I give him my queries as I go, just so he understands where I got this information from, so it won't be spitting out bad information. It is a tool that could be used for good, but there is so much level for abuse, especially when it comes to the U.S. government. We're talking about a minority report kind of thing, where you could get to a point where they start arresting you for a crime that you might commit.
But that's what the Palantir software does, dude. Gotham, that's exactly what it is. If you look it up, man. So Foundry is the data collection software, okay, and it pulls all of our data from the IRS, CIA, FBI. I mean, just the Health and Human Services. I mean, everything. Every part of your digital footprint is put into Foundry, and then it's put through Gotham. And Gotham is a predictive software. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is. Dude, it's nefarious as shit.
So it's basically just the fucking Minority Report in the making.
It is.
Harry, I just noticed something too.
Social credit score thing.
Tap your mic. Yep. You got the same problem. I just heard it. You got the same exact problem. I don't know.
That's weird.
Yeah. I could. Is that a DJI mic?
Yeah, it is.
Those things are fucking awesome, dude. They sound almost as good.
Oh, yeah, it's coming out of my damn Ozbot. Why is it doing that?
Yeah,
it's been like that the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't know what
noticed it. What about now?
Right now, perfect.
Oh, there you go. How did you fix that?
I went into settings, into audio, and then mic, and then changed it
your
to
StreamYard settings.
Yeah,
I don't know
StreamYard
what you tried to do, Rob.
Yeah, and it wasn't working for me.
Would you so I don't want to do tech support in the middle of this, but did you, on the click down, did it have your Rodecaster?
Yeah.
And you click it and it clicks back?
No, it clicks it and it doesn't do anything at all.
Oh, okay. So back onto this AI thing. It is dangerous. It will be abused. Let's be fair. It will be abused. It's not like if they're going to use it right, they will abuse it. So for that reason, bills like this are a no-go. Omnibus bills should be a no-go. We did this yesterday. We used AI actually to find this out, and it's not a secret. Congress works 167 days a month. A month. 167 days a year, and those 167 days that they're there, they don't work. So they and just for people that don't know how these bills get made, a member of Congress or a legislator or a lobby firm goes ahead and says, I want this. And then they put a whole bunch of interns to start focusing on narrowing down these issues. Then they clean it up. And then they put it right in the middle of everything on this 1,100 page bill. And you don't get to read it. And then you get gay retards like that Billy guy that automatically is like, oh, anybody that doesn't vote for the big, beautiful bill is an idiot. That's not my position. And it wasn't my position even in the beginning of this podcast when I told you I do support the bill. But I'm honest with you. I'm telling you, well, I support the bill because the president supports the bill. But I can't shit on people, right, that don't support the bill, because I'm looking at it and I haven't made my decision. Well, I kind of already made my decision on if I support this bill or not, and I'll leave that for the end. But automatically attacking people that don't support this bill is retarded. It's retarded because there's a lot that goes through, and to say that you support the whole omnibus bill. And I just had a follower that's watching, the Lady Layman just shared something on here. And again, this is an infographic from the New York Times. And the cost of this bill is $4.2 trillion, right? And I don't think anybody's arguing that fact, and I think it's over the course of 10 years, right? And then the savings are 1.8 trillion. You're putting money on a credit card that you don't have. And then you got to pay interest on that. And then the interest keeps, do you remember the first time? Do you guys remember the first time that you saw the debt clock ever?
Yeah.
Mine was at 12 billion. The first time, like, I actually started looking at it, I'm like, holy fuck, 12 billion. It's at 36 billion now. And it's increasing exponentially. It's not increasing like, oh, we increased half a billion dollars this year. No, it's increasing like multiple trillions of dollars every year.
Congress behaves like college frat boys with a fucking a $20,000 credit card that they believe in their head is unlimited and they don't have to pay back. And this is how they govern our finances. And it's ridiculous. It's so irresponsible. And you know who's to blame? We are, because we don't show up to the fucking primaries.
Yeah.
Well, not only
unless you think, I mean, I don't agree with you there. I don't think voting works. But again, I'm gonna keep.
You just took the words out of my mouth.
I can see why a guy like you
we are
would
never going to vote our way out of this. No
Yeah.
matter what you guys think, no matter what anybody on this planet thinks, we will never vote our way out of this. Doesn't mean stop voting, but if you're deluded enough to think that we will be able to vote ourselves out of this, with the second some of these reps get into office, they're bought immediately.
Yeah.
Whether it be by APAC or whether it be by the military industrial complex or whether it be by the pharmaceutical industrial complex. I mean, all of the until we actually take lobbyists and hang them by their necks in the town square, nothing is ever going to change.
Fun fact to your point, Rob, is that a lot of people don't know this. Chuck Schumer has multiple daughters, two of them. One of his daughters is a board member for Amazon, and the other one of his daughters is a government lobbyist for Facebook. So when Chuck Schumer sits down to have Thanksgiving dinner, he's sitting down with the two biggest lobbyists in DC, his daughters.
Yeah.
Can you imagine just seriously getting paid to lobby for Facebook in Congress?
Sounds like a dream job, but I don't know if I can live with myself at the end of the day.
I don't think so. I mean, what we're seeing, like, if you were to put like your average Joe plumber or average Joe in a seat of Congress, give him term limits, I think that you'd see, because you put any one of us three or any J6, well, not every J6er.
Be careful.
That isn't like, I'd go in there like a fucking wrecking ball. Because it wouldn't be about money for me at all. I'd be like, I'd enjoy the fuck out of being the guy that doesn't accept money from anybody and like throwing it in people's faces and just like being a stick of dynamite into the system, right? That's payment for me.
Absolutely,
that would be payment for me. And it's not like this hero cause that I just want to. It would be thrilling for me to be in there and be like, no, I'm not doing this. We're not doing this. So you can hate, and it's okay to hate Tom Massey and hate Rand Paul for their positions on the bill, right?
Yeah, but I don't.
But I don't. That's true. Like, I don't. I can't hate them for it because I'm just reading through it, and maybe some of it is performative, maybe some of it is trying to be contrarian. Regardless of the fact, if you sit here through this bill, and we've been on here for 2.5 hours, we haven't even covered like a tenth of this bill, and we've already found a whole bunch of shit that we're like, holy fuck. Some things that we can explain, things that we do explain, because it's pretty obvious, like on the military portion of it. We know all that money is going to those big corporations. Is some of that needed? Of course, but they're overcharging the American people for it on purpose. So it is a money grab. It doesn't take millions of dollars to create an M1 Abrams tank which I think is done by that other company,
Northrop Grumman.
Yeah. So I don't think it takes billions of dollars to formulate these tanks. And the Elon model is probably the best model that there is. He's like, dude, he walks his plant floor, his manufacturing floor, and he questions everything from how somebody's like putting a screw in a part or putting a bolt on. And that's the way
To
that we
find a more
should run
efficient way
government.
of
We
doing
should
it.
run government like that efficiently, because it's our money at the end of the day. It's our money being taken, and it's our money being fucking wasted. So to give you a quick preview of what I'm going to say at the end of this podcast, I am not a supporter of this bill. And if I was in Congress or Senate, I'd vote no. But the main reason I'd vote no is it's an omnibus bill. And there's things that you don't want on there. And one of the main things is that part about AI. Regardless of my position on legislating or regulating AI, right? You do the right thing. Like, you don't want this machine to take over humanity, and you can't pass it on a bill and be like, well, we're giving tax cuts. You can't do it.
We have to stop accepting this. This omnibus, this process just needs to be stopped. You go back to Ron DeSantis's children education parental rights bill that they dubbed Don't Say Gay. It was 5 pages of the most comprehensive legislation ever passed. Why can't they do this all the time? Single issue bills so the people can understand them. Stop creating this manipulative, convoluted bullshit that is simply designed to distract and confuse the American people. Let's stop doing it.
Amen.
Well, if the HPA is still in it, which according to Firearms Policy Coalition it is, I guess the one good takeaway from it is suppressors are going to be deregulated, and you can go in and buy them just as an accessory, and you don't have to do background checks or pay $200 tax stamp. But oh boy, look at what we're doing to get to that point.
Yeah. And I just searched the bill. Obviously, I knew it wasn't going to come up here. I searched the bill for Palantir, and obviously it didn't come up, but you could tell that it says commercial artificial intelligence, and that's what they mean.
Yep. That's exactly what they mean.
And there's AI lobbyists, there's AI lobbyists.
Yeah, look at Project Stargate. Enrique, look at Project Stargate.
Mm-hmm.
The facility they're building in Texas, the biggest AI facility in the entire world.
What company is building that?
Oh, take a guess. BlackRock,
Mm-hmm.
Oracle.
You
They gave the contract to yeah, man. Listen, dude, this is an entire episode, man. This is a very, very long conversation, and I'm telling you, bro, this is as nefarious as it gets. And all these people that fucking dick ride all this bullshit say, well, we need to have the most advanced AI so that we can fight everybody else's AI.
So let me ask you, you said that you put this bill, at least portions of this bill, or maybe you just asked it. You asked AI about the bill, and what did it say? Yeah, Grok.
So let me
because I tried to put the whole bill through it, and I didn't understand why I wasn't reading it. And the problem is,
can you still see me?
Yeah, I still see you. It starts hallucinating.
All right, so Grok said, and it's in the small section of it, it says permanently extends the 2017 tax cuts and jobs cuts, preventing tax hikes for many. Adds new tax breaks like no tax on tips, overtime, and car loan interest, which there should have never been tax on that to begin with. Increases the SALT deduction to $40,000 and boosts the child tax credit to $2,500 temporarily. Funds Border Security $46.5 billion for the wall, $4.1 billion for Border Patrol, and $150 billion for defense. Cuts Medicaid and SNAP through stricter rules, potentially reducing coverage for millions.
These are
eliminates clean,
right?
Well, no, I just said, I actually told Grok, give me the TLDR, and Grok knew exactly what TLDR is. Eliminates clean energy credits and the IRS free filing program. So you're not going to get a tax credit for your Tesla. Increases the debt ceiling $4 trillion to $5 trillion with CBO estimating 2.5 trillion to 5.7 trillion added to the deficit over 10 years. And then it gave me like a detailed breakdown, like like a little small paragraph of each one. Cuts Medicaid and SNAP food stamps by tightening eligibility and work requirements, potentially reducing coverage for 1.3 million people annually. Let's see. Funds infrastructure and disaster relief through specific amounts. Those specific amounts are less detailed, which again, you're giving it open-ended so they can, well, we passed it. It's in the bill. We'll just give you $50 billion to do this. Let's see. They gave us
And nowhere. I mean,
raises the state. Say that again.
No, go ahead. Finish this up because I wanted to make.
So they put a deduction cap on state and local the SALT deduction, and then there's so much good in this, but there's so much other stuff that kind of outweighs it, and from what I'm seeing right now, that it's the deficit growth that, while some of these cuts and some of these tax provisions and some of these things that are in the bill that are going to help us in the interim are going to really fuck us in the long term.
Yeah.
And that's what Massey's big bone of contention is with this. It's like there's a lot to be happy about in the bill, but overall it's, do you take a $5 million loan now and then have to pay $100 million back in 10 years? That's, that's like, so if I were to have, a friend of mine's we're building houses together. So it's like, all right, we're going to take back, and the VIG that they want at the end of this is $100 million for a $5 million loan. This is what we're looking at. I'll never be able to pay that $100 million back, no matter how many houses I build.
Patty, you had your hand up.
So,
yeah, so I think that's exactly right. And by the way, Rob, you should probably have to explain what VIG means to everybody else in the entire country. But anyway, so the big problem I have with this bill is the fact that we're not paying for a lot of things, and one of them is this crazy ass provision that says, and it's buried in the middle of it. It says you have to post a bond to be able to sue the president or the administration, more specifically, for violating your rights or your civil rights. So if you say that, hey, an executive order was, it violates my civil rights, you have to post a bond of like millions of dollars to be able to sue somebody, sue the president in federal court. Well, that makes it prohibitive for just any normal person, unless they have like a whole group behind them who's willing to pay that bond. That's insane. It's like, hey, man, you can have your civil rights if you can afford to pay for them. I mean, fuck
I
off.
remember reading something about redressing our government.
Yes,
yes.
It's a blatant violation.
I do distinctly remember reading that.
Yeah, I think we read the same thing, Rob. I really do.
I don't see a section on bonds that have to do with presidents. There's 9 instances of the word bonds in there.
Yeah, I'll find it for you. Okay. Hold on a second. I had it.
And then what was the issue that you just brought up, Rob?
So if we did have to, pay a bond to our government, and I believe that it patently goes against the First Amendment, bro. I mean, redress of grievances.
And I hope this bill doesn't get signed into law anytime soon, because we are suing.
I know, and dude, we were so close on getting suppressors. We were so close.
I saw that.
But I'm not a one-issue voter. I was, but this is the closest we've been since.
I just sent it to you, Enrique. It's a Reuters article. You can post it if you want.
This is the closest we've been in 91 years. 91 years to having our Second Amendment rights restored to us with the Short Act and the HBA. the Hearing Protection Act, and it's going to go bust if he doesn't sign it in. And you know what? I'm willing to take the L on this and fight this separately if it saves the American people, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about this country and saving this country, and that's where my heart's at. And sometimes
do you guys want to have an argument about guns? Because that might be fun for everybody.
Dude, you can't argue with me about guns.
No, I want to argue with you about guns, but I think you're going to find that I probably agree with you on a lot of things. But yeah, let's fight about guns here in a second.
Well, I think we should
Yeah,
have everybody.
Let's do that we should do that on another show.
Everybody should
No,
give up.
this is the
Second
perfect
Amendment
time
show,
to
right,
fight about
Enrique?
guns. But why don't we fight about guns right now? Like, let's do it.
Everybody should give up their weed to stand against drug violence. That's my response to gun.
I think you're going to
This
find that
amendment
we
is
agree on
absolute.
more than we disagree.
Oh, this is a section. It's on page 541. Right. I do want to talk about the gun thing in a second, but it says no court of the United States may enforce a contempt citation for failure to comply with an injunction or temporary restraining order if no security was given when the injunction or order was issued pursuant to federal rule of civil procedure, whether issued prior to, on, or subsequent to the date of enactment of this section. Maybe I'm a retard.
You know what else we can fucking try to do?
What's that?
Get all of this in plain fucking English. Let's start writing.
Yeah,
our
it
bills
does in the
plain
Reuters
fucking
article.
English.
If you post that, Enrique, the Reuters article makes it a little easier to read.
The convoluted legalese.
The convoluted legalese.
Right. Is that convoluted legalese? I think is a country in Southeast Asia.
They have really good fried shrimp.
Absolutely, don't they?
This is a section. So to stay on message here with this portion, this is a section, and yeah, the Reuters article does break it down, but it is also a long article.
Reuters.
So what I'm going to do it right now, Reuters. I'm gonna copy it and I'm gonna tweet it at the War Boys. So you guys, if you guys want to read the article, right under this live feed, under the War Boys account, not my personal account. If you're watching it, I'm gonna put this right under.
War Boys.
I'm gonna tweet it right under the War Boys Studios. The person that's the people that are gonna host your next show, which I'm gonna dog you about before we leave, before you get out of here. And there's another
motherfucker. You gotta take that account and follow me back first, you fucking knucklehead.
All right.
He doesn't even follow me. I know.
I'm like,
I don't follow anybody on that account.
Out of jail. He gets out of jail. I'm sending him text message. I'm like, bro, it's so good that you're out, man. And he's like, who's this? Fuck you, dude.
I didn't have my contacts. My iCloud hasn't even synced yet. So I have to save all my numbers. I haven't lost them. I just got to log into that account. So there's another provision here when you guys wanted to talk about, and somebody had mentioned it the other day on the broadcast, that this bill does take away that allows you to have the SBRs and the suppressors without the tax stamp.
It's
right.
It's two different acts. One is the Short Act, which is for short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, and then there's the HPA, which is the Hearing Protection Act, which deregulates suppressors. Which, because the way they did it when the NFA, the National Firearms Act, happened. They said that suppressors are firearms, and they are not. They are not capable of firing a bullet out of it. It's just an accessory. And the misnomer is that it's completely silent. And I'm watching all of like every Town for Gun Safety, and all those fucking faggots go, oh my god, everybody's going to turn into an assassin now. Fuck you, dude. Like, listen, it brings it from like 150 dBs down to 110, and it just makes it more. Even with ear protection on, the shit's still loud, and you spend a day at the range, and your hearing's shot. Even with the greatest hearing protection. So you put a suppressor on it, it brings it down to like manageable levels. I mean, because that's technically it would bring it down to OSHA acceptable levels at that point. And that's
I seen on like a James Bond movie that it's dead silent once, Rob. So I mean, it's got to, you know.
No,
Well, if
doesn't
you've
work that
ever,
way.
if you
I
ever
know the sound. It goes.
the only
Let
time
me-
only time that you get that sound is if you're firing a 22
22. Yeah.
with a can,
22.
and you'll
Yeah.
only thing you'll hear the slide. If it's anything remotely bigger, it just sounds different.
You're going to hear it because the bullet's still traveling, and it's going to like. So the other thing is another common misnomer is that shorter barreled rifles are more deadly. In fact, they are not.
No.
They're quite the opposite.
They're
The
more
longer the
dangerous than
barrel,
the guy firing it. Yeah, right.
the longer the barrel, the more power. You know what I mean? Goes further distance. The shorter the barrel, the less accurate it is, and it's more concealable as opposed to what the point of that is. Here, let me show you something. Hold on.
So while he's doing whatever he's doing right here, what I'm hearing is it's not on this bill. It's in a separate bill. Am I correct on that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, so right now,
Rob, before you show that, and I'll put you big on the screen so we could see it. So, are you saying that those provisions are not part of the big beautiful bill? These are
the
separate.
HBA is.
The HBA is.
The
right?
HBA is. They're trying to get the Short Act added onto this too.
Oh, they're trying to. Okay, so it's not on here
The
right
Short
now.
Act, but the Hearing Protection Act is in this.
Okay. All right.
It's
I'll be
part of
looking
this
for it.
bill.
I'm gonna full screen you a second so you could show, and I'll be searching for
All
it.
right. So let me show you guys something. So a short barreled rifle is a rifle that's under 16 inch, has an under 16 inch barrel, right? They call that a short barreled rifle. If you take this and put it on it, it's a pistol. They consider it an AR pistol. This is a pistol brace. You see that? See how much plastic is on there?
Yeah.
They only see that. Now, if I were to take this off of a pistol and put this scary piece of plastic on there, it is now a 10-year imprisonment felony and a $250,000 fine. This is what we're arguing about, people.
So if it has Velcro,
This is what we're talking about. Guys are going to jail for taking their short-barreled rifles that are pistols. So you can buy a pistol and put this on it. This is completely legal. This is a pistol brace. Okay. The idea behind it was that this goes over. It ain't going over my motherfucking forearm, but it's supposed to go over your forearm and brace the pistol.
have you ever tried it in that fashion? Have you ever gone to the range and actually tried to use it like that?
Dude, I can't get it
Is that-
over these motherfuckers. Are you
That
fucking- they
actually
don't make it-
seems that actually seems more dangerous, right? That you
Well,
gotta hold
it was
that
more
way.
meant.
Yeah,
And its original design was meant for veterans that have lost an arm and they want to be able to shoot.
Yeah.
So,
Same.
but this is what we're arguing about. This will get you 10 years in prison. This will get you left alone. Honestly and truly, other than the Velcro, what difference do you see?
the Velcro. That's it.
The Velcro. Now, if I just okay,
Does that make
legal?
it's still legal? When
No,
you
it's
take
still
the
legal.
Velcro
It's still a pistol brace.
off? Okay.
It's illegal. But this, again, if I were to take this off of an AR pistol and put this on, I can go to jail for 10 years. And you can shoulder this. The ATF said it was perfectly legal to shoulder it. It does the exact same fucking thing. There is no need for the NFA.
So I don't see. I'm gonna take you off full screen a sec and go back to this. I don't see the Hearing Protection Act in this one, and I don't know if I got the most recent one on here. But there's only 2 instances of the word hearing, and it's about like actual hearings, not like hearing like you can't hear it. So maybe I got like before they added it, but it would be nice to. I was about to say it would be nice to add it to it. still be a shit bill if you add it to it, anyways.
We could talk about guns, though, in general, though, for a second, if you don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that's a good idea, but I just wanted to clarify my point about somebody said I'm not giving up my weed. But that's how I think a brilliant way to end the gun debate is when you tell somebody that smokes pot to give up their pot to end drug violence. The first thing they say is, "I'm not violent." Welcome to the gun debate, bro.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Go ahead, Patty.
Well, I would first say that I support the Second Amendment, and I don't think that anything that Rob said is wrong. But as somebody who will admit that firing guns is fun. Like, I mean, I can't tell you how much fun it was to fire an M14, an M16, or a shotgun off the flight deck of a carrier or the ship I served on, USS Tortuga. What wasn't awesome. So I don't think that anybody should be, curtailed in their right to have a firearm in their house to support, to protect their own family and stuff like that. I just think, honestly, this is just a straight up, like, I think people should be licensed so I know that you can get that firearm downrange, that you can actually shoot straight. If you can't, then you shouldn't have one. If you can't drive a car straight, you shouldn't be able to drive a car. If you can't shoot a gun straight, you shouldn't be able to have a gun. Now, like, I understand it's in the Constitution. We're going to talk about the Second Amendment.
Driving cars is not in the Constitution.
And all that. Okay, that's cool. But I really just want the person next to me who has a gun to know how to fire it. And that's not hard to do.
That's not
all you have to do is go to a class and just learn how to fucking shoot a gun. I didn't know anything about guns
one thing?
when I joined the Navy, but they taught me.
Give me a second so I could answer, Patty. So I'm going to push back on that a little bit, and it kind of has to do with what we're going for now with this omnibus bill.
It's in section 2, by the way.
By you're rationalizing, and I completely understand your point, and it makes sense. I'm not going to say it doesn't make sense. The problem doesn't lie in what you're trying to do is good. The problem is that when you put that provision into the government's hands, it snowballs, just like these bills, just like the Patriot Act, just like they start with great intentions and then they're used, and then suddenly it goes past. Oh, well, you need this. Well, then you need to register. Well, if you're not registered, then we have to put you in prison. And then somebody's lobbying to put more people in prison, so they go ahead and they expand it even more. That's where I have a problem with it. Like, constitutionally, that I don't think that, in my view, I don't think that flies, because it clearly says shall not be infringed, and there's always been.
I just think it's common sense to ask somebody to learn how to shoot the fucking gun,
irrespective of the Constitution, though.
I take Rob's position on it, and I think that another reason.
I understand where you're coming from.
You don't pay for a constitutional right.
Yeah,
like it's unconstitutional to pay. It's illegal to pay for a constitutional right.
But I just don't want my neighbors to have guns that they don't know how to fire, man. Like, I mean,
matter.
You want that?
So then move away from the hood.
Where do I live?
I don't live in
New
the
Hampshire. Wait, hang on a second. I live in New Hampshire.
Not anymore.
We're the first state to put in constitutional carry, which means no licenses whatsoever. Anybody can buy a gun as long as you pass the 4473, which is your federal background check. We have the lowest crime in the country. Is there a correlation in the fact that we are also the whitest state in the country?
Oh shit.
No. That's a joke. Because,
question.
The joke is this: the only thing that we have violent here that's black are bears.
I could throw a rock from my house into New Hampshire, and right now I'm thinking about doing it.
But no, seriously, we literally have the lowest crime in the entire country.
Look,
you've got 6 people. Nobody gives a fuck about New Hampshire because nobody lives in New Hampshire.
We have 1.8 million people, by the way.
Really?
Everybody.
We have more people.
Allegedly,
there is no crime here because everybody knows everybody carries. It's
because what are you going to steal in New Hampshire? Fucking rocks?
Plenty of shit. You never been to fucking Salem, guy?
What am I going to steal in New Hampshire?
You never been to Salem, Ked? You never been to Salem? You never been to Nashua?
Salem.
Nashua.
I played
so,
baseball in Nashua
look,
and beat the shit out of the
let me
team
cut
there.
in here
And
a
I'm
second.
telling you, there's nothing in Nashua.
Let me
who
cut in
gives
here a
fuck?
second. So here's a situation that we talked about this week, and it was big news. It was the firebombing and of those people in Colorado, and we've seen the video, right? We've seen this crazy dude try to fucking and he killed somebody. He burned somebody to death, and he injured a whole bunch of people. And what I found fucking crazy coming from Florida in the video is that this guy was allowed to fucking just like continue to stand there unchecked with 2 Molotov cocktails next to him. If this would have been Florida, he wouldn't be breathing in here.
If he
Somebody
was
would
here, he would have got dropped like that.
So and that kind of shows you, where if we start doing these regulations and we start fucking which we have I said this a while ago, so I'm guessing that there's more now. There was 22,000 gun laws in the country in 2020. And like how many more gun laws do we need to keep people safe? Is it 44? Do we do 44,000? And Patty, I know that you're not advocating for more gun laws or anything like that, but that's where the problem I see, Patty, with your argument that like if we, and again, I do feel like it's rational that you want to make sure, and it's rational, but the Constitution isn't meant for that. And I do believe that even if that were the only requisite to obtain a firearm, I already think it's too much.
Look, when our forefathers had just fought a many years long war with an oppressive government, they saw this when they ratified the Second Amendment in 1791. They said the people need to be armed. It is irrespective of your feelings. Not you. I'm saying you as a generalized statement, not you, Patty. And it's irrespective of what the government says. Every single person has a natural right to protect themselves, and firearms are the way to do it. Which is why the Bruin decision was so monumental, because all of these states, like Massachusetts, especially Massachusetts, it is the worst gun state in the country. It's even worse than California. Okay, the scissoring sycophant you have for a governor, okay, is making it even worse.
Your senator.
All right, just say she's queer and be angry about
No,
that.
she's a fucking bulldyke.
Let's not fuck around.
Who's embroiled.
Okay.
Wait. And
by the way,
Attorney General,
I get a
she
license
was
for these
duking it out
guns
with state troopers on the desk of the Attorney
I
General's
don't have a
office.
problem with that. Oh, fuck off. I mean,
Oh, God, this is ugly,
seriously,
dude.
like,
Ugh.
we're getting into silliness, but look, I really
seriously,
believe that everybody has a right to have a gun in their house to protect themselves, or a weapon, as people in the military speak, because guns are whatever. But I just think that there should be limits on what you should have. And I think you should have to take a test to be able to shoot a fucking firearm, because I know people, as somebody who served on a ship of 350 souls, I knew people on my ship who I was worried about. I was like, you really shouldn't have a fucking firearm, and even though they were in the military. So let's just be honest that not everybody is capable of properly arming themselves with a firearm. And
listen,
I just don't want every asshole to be able to.
I'm with you. I don't think that there's a lot of people capable of it, but the problem comes in is who decides who's capable or not. And the only way that you make sure, right, that right is never infringed is you got to put it in the hands of people that you don't think it's capable.
I think we should arm kindergartners.
I'm gonna use
put it in the government's hands. It's fucked.
I'm gonna use I'm gonna actually go into like old school libertarian conversations. And do you guys think that American citizens should own fighter jets?
Yes,
absolutely.
Patty?
No, of course not.
No,
why not?
Now you do know that American citizens you can buy an Albatross. What is it? The Russian trainer fighter jet.
Yeah, you could. But like I'm talking about,
I'm an aircraft mechanic. I know there's people in Fort Lauderdale that have them right now.
No, I'm not talking about just a fighter. That's a jet. I'm talking about with the guns.
Oh, you could put him on there.
missiles.
You could put him on there.
Like you should be able to go to the fucking. You should be
that's
able to go to the ex-vice president Dick Cheney's store of war and buy like fucking missiles for your jet.
If you
I
have the
think there
proper
should be a
licenses,
website,
if you
Dick Cheney
actually have-
storeofwar.com.
if you
Like
actually
that
have-
should definitely be a thing.
Patty
if you have the
celebrating
proper
Pride Month.
licenses, you can actually own all this shit. I mean, Brandon Herrera owns most of this shit.
All right,
Same thing
now
with
we're
what's her name from Demolition Ranch.
now we're getting into
Did you
like
guys
just-
notice these awesome stickers, by the way?
Those are
Oh,
pretty
I
cool.
saw that Bobby actually made T-shirts
is
for
that?
your thing. And
Yeah, Bobby
actually,
made
I don't want to
T-shirts,
say
and
I'm proud of him.
I will
And
put
I'm gonna
one on
give
my
these
toolbox
away.
if I ever had one.
I'm gonna give one of these away
Bobby
every
is a
Can you
every.
get that closer to the camera? Is that like the holographic?
It's a hologram sticker. Yeah.
Oh, that is.
But let's talk about what you poured in that cup, Patty, because that's the real issue.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it was truly.
Of course,
Yeah, you guys like that?
of course it is.
Yeah,
All right,
I'll
we're
give
in
it
the
away.
we're in the process of like shit posting right now. Is there anything else on this bill that you guys want to anything that you could remember that
I would like to see a collective effort from pundits and podcasters, live streamers, and the citizens to figure out where this pork came from in this bill. I do not want to see Trump get blamed for all of this, like he's the one that wrote the bill, because that's what American people are going to do on the left. And I want to see who did it, what congressperson and their staffers and their interns wrote the bullshit in the bill. Let's find out and call them out. I don't care who they are.
So,
Yeah.
bro, it's in section the one big beautiful bill. The HPA is in section 2.
section 2? Is there a page number?
No,
Section
it's
2.
according to Grok, an HR1. Specifically, HPA provisions within the bill aim to deregulate firearm suppressors by fully removing them from the National Firearms Act.
Short title, section 1, section 2. Yeah,
You're right, Tank. I will absolutely buy a tank.
Is this Jose talking about the A10, the automatic shotgun? Is that what he's talking about?
No, I think he's talking about. I think he's talking
Warthog.
about the Warthog.
He's talking about a warthog. Yeah, I would.
It's the AA10. You ever seen that? The fully automatic shotgun?
I did.
AA12.
Ooh, AA12. Yeah, I want one so bad.
I worked out of Eglin Air Force Base twice. Once when I was contracting, and 2 when I went to prison. And that was the most beautiful sound. I'm going through this this bill to see if I find section 2, but it is really beautiful sound. The problem is that there's no section 2. It just goes like part 2, maybe. And then subtitles. Here it says part 1 of the subtitle D. So I don't know specifically. Ask him to be a little bit more specific. But regardless, to go back on that subject, man, that was so cool to see, because the Blue Angels fly out of Pensacola and out of Eglin, and I'd see them all day, and it was cool. It was cool to just go out to work and like you see a whole bunch of these crazy machines flying.
Nobody ever talks about all the perks of going to prison.
It was added to the bill. And
okay.
so it would probably be at the end of it. That's what the section 2 is.
Okay. So let's go.
I'm trying to find it right now.
Increase the debt limit. Increase it. Oh shit. Well, look, I guess this is the last part's pretty important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are my eyes fooling me here?
Trillion. No, billion.
No.
Trillion. Whoa.
Yeah. My eyes aren't fooling me here. That says trillion.
Yep. 12 zeros. That much money could probably be stacked on top of each other and reach Mars, and that is not hyperbolic.
in singles?
I think so. I think what's his name? Stephen Moore, the economist. He did some kind of math breakdown that I believe $1 trillion in $5 bills can be stacked on top of each other and go past the moon.
Jesus. What are you doing, buddy?
There's a part here about Purple Heart recipients, income tax credit. You know, I mean, I search for suppressor.
He won't say it.
Let me see. How about firearms? Let's see firearms.
Are we allowed to say firearms? I got out of prison and they started doing all this control speak, and now you can't say things. You have to say unalived and shit. What's up with that?
You have to say grape.
Grape. Oh yeah, I saw that one recently.
On TikTok.
Yeah.
You've been unalived by somebody who's graping you.
Yeah, well, I was in prison and nobody was graping anybody in there.
Oh, jeez.
Transfer taxes on firearms. Tax rate on just transfers.
All right. I tell you what, I will get all of this information, bro. If you want to do another show on it.
Yeah, let's do another one. Let's do another one.
Yeah, if you want to do another show on it, we'll talk specifically about guns, suppressors, the NFA, the 68 GCA, the 86 assault weapons ban, the 94 crime bill. You name it, I know it.
Okay. All right, so let's do this. Let's close out this show. I mean, let's just. I already know where this is going. Is there any one of you, and I'll go one by one, that changed your mind on this bill, Barry?
No, I've only furthered my opinion. They lost me at Omnibus. I'm tired of the bullshit. I'm tired of being taken advantage of. I'm tired of my intelligence being insulted by the people that we send to Congress. So, fold it up in about 20 different folds and shove it up your ass.
Patty?
Negative.
Rob?
I'm not for this bill. I was, but I'm not now. I'm tired of our government hiding all the shit that's going to enrich them under the guise of trying to do good for us when it's really not good for us. I'm done with that. So if I still got to pay a $200 tax for a suppressor and the bill doesn't go through, the American people are better for it.
Yeah. So, in the beginning of I said I was for it, basically because the president's for it. I read through the bill, and we didn't. Obviously, it's tough to cover such a big bill, especially when you get the language that's in there. That it's a bunch of law speak, and it quotes other laws, which then you have to open that law and make sure you agree with that and the changes that are on there. And I'm definitely a no after that. Just in the short amount of things that we covered. If I were a sitting senator or a sitting congressman, I probably, for sure, I'd vote no on it. I don't know if Massey and Rand Paul are doing it as a performative thing. Me and Patty went over this. If he's the tie-breaking vote, I think that he would be voting for it because I don't think that he wants to be blamed for tanking the bill. Thomas Massey, I think, is a different story. I think he would tank the bill without a problem. Not that that's bad looking at this bill. I support the president. I support the president 100%. But this is the bill itself doesn't mean I don't support the president. I still support the president. I think it's a bad bill. And I think that Congress should do its job. Working 167 days a year is not enough. And within those 167 days, if they would actually work one of those days, I'd be happy. Given those facts, we will do another show where we'll break down some of this. I don't know if it'll be this week unless you guys want to go live on your own, the three of you, because tomorrow's news show, the J6ers will be joining me in presenting tomorrow's news. And then Friday, there's a couple things that are happening. I'm hoping that they happen the right way. We'll have big news on Friday. But the bill does deserve at least an extra show where all of us do our due diligence and go through this bill. Will it tank before we do another show? I think so. I think it tanks before we do the show. Will it pass? I don't think so. I don't think it has enough support to pass unless there's radical changes in it, and I don't see those radical changes happening anytime soon. And that's the problem with these bills. So with that being said, I do talking about the War Boy Studios. I think Rob's going to start his own show on our network soon. Here, no pressure, Rob. But do text me after the show or call me when you're available. And I would love to have you on a serious note. I would love to have you on the studio. And
Thanks, bro.
Again, I'm joined by two of my best hosts on the network, people that constantly post content, people that constantly join us on this news brief. So I'll let you guys say your closing statements. Favorite BBW is Carmela Ding. Is that a D? Carmela Ding with a D-I-N-G. I gotta look it up. So Barry, while I'm looking this up,
who's my
according
favorite?
to Stover, Gorlock is your favorite, Enrique.
Who?
Gorlock.
It's Bing. It's Bing. 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 Bing.
Oh, okay. Because nothing.
Now, is BBW? Is that beautiful black woman or big black woman?
Big beautiful woman.
Beautiful woman.
Oh, it has nothing to do with black.
Wow, everything is censored here.
Because I thought I had to pick Lizzo or I get canceled.
This is nah,
fucking
bro.
cancel me.
Nah, this is too much. There's too much belly here, dude. Like she has huge tits, but the belly is even bigger. How's this possible?
Who is this?
Carmela.
I just wanted to force you to Google it. You know,
it's in my search history. Now,
I'm picking Olivia Julian.
Yo, listen. I wouldn't fuck that bitch with Enrique's dick.
And Barry pushing.
What if you had to save the West, dude? And that was what was asked of you. You'd let Western civilization end because you didn't have the. There you go. Look, Patty's.
All right, listen, boys. Fucking a fat chick is just like riding a scooter. It's fun to ride.
You don't want your friends to see you. We get
me do it, man. No.
I don't care. I'm denying it.
No. If I got to roll you around in flour and find the wet spot, if I can smack your belly and all the motion happens for me.
That would be cool though if fucking Tesla or Elon made an automatic wet spot finder for big chicks. You just press the button.
See, this is what I love about you guys. You know, like that's why I never used to watch podcasts because like everybody's dead. If we were talking about this bill and it was just like another group of dudes, they'd be like so fucking serious and they'd like the entire time from beginning to end. You know,
this is why I think that right wingers have liked me like since I started hanging out.
Like you.
Yeah, right.
We just,
but in all honesty, like it was back in 2017 or whatever. I first met you, Enrique, like in San Francisco, and we're just like I bought a bunch of tickets to a baseball game, and we all went out. Remember that we went to the Giants baseball game.
This is getting better.
Joe was like, "Oh yeah, this guy's not so much of a motherfucker. Like I can live with him. I can deal with it." And then they put us constantly in the same, room in whatever Airbnb we went to because we both snored like motherfuckers and nobody else could stand it, right? So they put us in there and we became friends. Whatever.
Is that where? I'm gonna let you finish, but I'm gonna ask you a question.
No, that's like so we became friends and it just turned into a thing like it's like, hey, we can argue about politics, but we don't have to dislike each other. And you guys trusted me not to, talk out of school about things that were not relevant to politics or whatever the Proud Boys were doing. And I never did that. And so it was just photos of actual events. and interviews that were actually, authorized. And other than that, like, I kept my mouth shut about whatever, nonsense was going on, because that's not news. You know what I mean? So
let me ask you, and just quickly, was that San Francisco trip the trip where Joe Biggs became Eskimo brothers with Elon Musk?
I can't comment on that. But if I were to comment on that, I definitely would not comment on that.
All right. Well, whose baby is it anyways?
Difficult to say. Hard
so
to say.
To close this show out, Barry, do you have any final words for the firing squad?
Get your asses to the primaries, America, or I don't want to hear you bitching for the next fucking 2 years that the America First agenda is over.
Patty. Rob.
Ride hard, take chances. Say that again?
No, just your closing statement, but also include like your plugs, like your social media.
Oh, so I guess I'm going to be on Sharia Dome tomorrow.
Yes.
That seems like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then my show, I do a show. It's I do a space on Fridays. It's called Critical Mass with Patriot Rob. Welcome to the Green Dragon. And it's funny how these supposed patriots, all of these supposed patriots and conservatives, have no idea what the fuck the Green Dragon is. And so it's basically talking about what we can do to make this government better and get our freedoms back. And we talk about all politics, and obviously we inject a bunch of levity in there because I can't be serious for too fucking long. But no, we have really good conversations, and it goes from like pretty much 2 to 5. And I'm sure that's what you're thinking you want me to do, Enrique, is bring that here.
Bring that energy here, man.
Okay.
In video form, because I love spaces. I just think that there is, and it's cool because
I got a perfect backdrop.
No, it is. I really, really like your studio. I really like the color. Purple's my color because it's the color of Kangs. And
Kangs.
And where could they find
Kangs?
Where could they find social media?
I only have X because I fucking.
I'm gonna blow up your
media.
screen so that you could see that handle
at the Rob 1772, and I'll be really impressed if anybody knows why 1772 was important.
It wasn't.
Yes, it was the real start of the revolution.
So let's and to close out this show, I appreciate you guys for joining me. We have been going live for about 3 hours and a quarter, which might be a record on our studio. I really do enjoy long shows. The retention has been amazing. We're at 1,300 viewers, which is really good for our small following. But I'm going to ask you guys to please share our handle so more people join this conversation. And I'm going to do something. If you're watching this show and you comment under the @Warboy Studio, not under my handle. If you go to @Warboy Studios and you comment under this feed, I will give you a follow from my personal account. And I retweet people all the time. I'm not one of those people that are like, oh, well, I'm waiting. If you type in some good shit, I'm going to retweet you. If it's funny, if it's informative, if it's crazy, I retweet you. You could catch us at Warboys Studios on X. And then if you can also help us by increasing our following on Rumble, you could search for us there, The Warboys, at The Warboys on there. And then if you want to support me financially, I do not accept donations, but I do sell some cool ass gear like the shirt I'm wearing right now. And I'm going to see if this OBS bot camera works well and turn the headless mode off. And this is an old shirt that we used to have on the website. It was Trump 2020 because fuck you twice. And obviously that second fuck you came in 2024. So I really appreciate you guys for watching and tuning into this podcast. I'm going to close out with that. Let me end the stream. We're working. I've been saying this for a long time. We are working on new intros for this new show. And love you guys. Signing off. If any of you three guys want to stay for after the outro to have a small conversation. But thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in.
I got to roll today, bro.
Koch,
it's been a pleasure.
Tomorrow. All right.
Load up on guns and bring your friends. It's fun to lose and to pretend she's overboard and self-assured. Oh no, I know a dirty word. Hello.
Peter said Ethan Nordine was the undisputed leader of the group that day as they tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power.
An FBI agent arrested Proud Boys former national chairman Enrique Tarrio at this home in Miami. By 2 this afternoon, he was in federal court.
Here we are now.